And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hinkle versus Burkhardt. Step forward, please.
24-year-old teacher Tanya Hinkle is suing her ex-fiancé, construction worker Shane Burkhardt, for the cost of a reception hall and for the cost of a wedding dress.
Miss Hinkle, you and the defendant were engaged. He broke off the engagement according to your complaint. You want him to pay for some expenses that were incurred by you or your mother, down payment on a hall, dress, etc. And you want the paperwork on your engagement ring.
Yes.
What are you doing with the engagement ring?
I was going to try to sell it.
Why?
So that I could pay off the rest of the wedding. But I can't get the paperwork because the defendant won't give it to me.
Why should he give it to you? You're supposed to give the engagement ring back to him.
Yeah, well, he proposed to me and broke it off.
So what?
So I thought it was a gift.
No. An engagement ring is a ring given in contemplation of you two getting married. And if he broke it off, there must have been a reason that he had doubts. Even if he had no reason to have doubts, it was good that he decided to call it off before he married you, if he wasn't going to be a good husband. The ring goes back to him. There's no issue with regard to that. I mean, once you're married, and if you're divorced, well, then the contract has been fulfilled. You were married, the engagement ring stays with you. But before the wedding, it goes back to him. Where is it? Can I see it, please? It's lovely. Give it to him. You still paying it off?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much was it?
The total was $27.95, I think, was the total on it.
And if you go to sell it, how much do you think you're going to get for it?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it.
Maybe
never,
half.
Never tried, yeah. Possibly.
Maybe. You never get.
Possibly half, yeah.
Unless you're dealing with the Hope Diamond.
Right.
You know, you're not. They usually don't appreciate in value.
Right.
Everybody makes a profit. You go to sell it. Maybe you're lucky if you get half. So you're going to be out probably $1,400.
Right.
That's you on the negative side. And how much did you spend on the wedding so far?
$1146.92.
So you don't want to have to pay him any money, do you?
No.
Good. So we're going to call it even, and you're all going to go home, and you're going to say, lucky, we called it off when we should have. He lost $1,400 on the ring. You lost $1,100 on the wedding expenses. Goodbye and good luck. Thank you.
99 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Escada. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
I'm really a little confused with this case, but we're going to make sense of it. Miss Jones, you're suing her because you say she filed false charges against you of hit and run.
Yes.
The hit and run was not against her person, but against a car that she was driving in.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
There was an incident involving the defendant.
Yes, there was.
First, tell me when the incident happened.
The exact day, it was on or about May 1st.
Tell me about it.
I was moving back into my home, and
you were moving back into your home from where?
From a corporate leasing unit.
Okay.
I rented a 26-foot U-Haul truck. I asked the guy to help me move, and he knew the defendant's boyfriend.
Did you know this person?
Not personally, no.
How did you find this person?
Just through verbal acquaintance, just seeing him around town. He's a handyman.
What's his name?
Michael Alexander.
So you asked Michael if he would help you move?
Yes. He then got the two other guys and said, you know, they were good workers and they will also help because I had a lot of furniture.
Okay, so there were going to be 3 men.
3 men.
And you rented the U-Haul?
And I rented the U-Haul.
Where did you pick them up?
I picked them up on 3rd Street East in Lancaster, California at Michael's home.
What happened the second day?
The following day, we had agreed the previous night to meet back at Michael's house early in the morning. I did so. I arrived.
So you, again, went back to Michael's house to pick up the 3 guys?
To pick up the 3 guys. As the one of the guys was walking out, he was arguing with someone in the house. I asked him, was he okay? Did he need to stay back? He said, no, let's go. So all 4 of us got into the truck. I drove off. Went back to the house, unloaded the truck. Later on that day, I was going down Avenue K, headed westbound. He spotted his girlfriend.
Were the 3 men still in the truck?
The 3 men are in the truck. I'm driving down Avenue K, which is a main street. I'm heading westbound. He spotted his girlfriend, which apparently is a defendant.
Had you ever seen her before?
No.
Never laid eyes on her before that day? Go ahead.
And he makes a comment to another guy. He said, oh, there she goes. She's about to turn around. I quickly glanced in my rearview mirror. I didn't really see anything. A few seconds later, she was behind me on my left-hand side, honking her horn and motioning me to pull over.
What kind of car was she in?
A little blue Toyota Tercel, something compact and small.
Now, how is she telling you to pull over?
Honking her horn and motioning like this. And so then I asked the guy, I said, do you want me to pull over? He said, no, she just wants to argue, just keep going. So I did. A few seconds later, she's now on the right side of the truck.
She's on the passenger side of the truck.
On the passenger side of the truck. Okay, she just got over. She's doing the same thing. And I asked him again, I said, are you sure? He said, no, keep on, she'll eventually pass. And I said, okay, fine. So I keep driving. She was yelling and screaming.
What was she yelling?
You know, she was yelling profanities at him.
At him, not at you?
Not at me, okay, not at first. When she got closer to the window, though, to where, because it was a long truck, when she got closer to the window, she did call me a B. But prior to that, she was, you know, on the side of the truck yelling and screaming at him, and they flipped it. I don't know, she flipped him off, and then he flipped her back off. So then they had a flipping off match, okay? And so I kept driving, and that was that. I moved all that day, you know, nothing. And the following day, I got a call from the Palmdale Sheriff's Department, said that they wanted to come look at the vehicle because they had been involved in a hit and run.
First of all, who was that guy who knew me?
Speak not until I speak to you. So it is your testimony
Yes.
that at no time did you ever hit her or hit her car?
Whatsoever.
Now, were you ever arrested?
No.
What happened?
The officer came to my house. He took a photograph of me. He told me to wait there at my house, that he was going to take the picture to her. If she verified that it was me, that he was going to come back and arrest me, for me not to go anywhere, to stay home that day. And I did. I was moving anyway. He never came back that day. I didn't hear anything, so I figured, okay, it's all taken care of. About a month later, I get a notice in the mail from the DMV stating that someone has inquired as to my driving record. Then I get a letter from the Sheriff's Department stating that I need to appear in court on charges of a hit and run and property damage. And
Do you have a copy of that letter?
I don't have a copy of the letter, but I was summoned to court.
You have a copy of the summons?
No, this is the court dates, and the days I appeared in court.
Am I correct, Miss Jones, that the trial in this case commenced? Jury was selected.
Yes.
The first witness was called by the people.
Yes.
That was this lady right here.
Yes.
The second witness that was called was her mother. I assume that's you.
Mother-in-law.
You're not her mother, are you?
No.
Then be quiet. Then the matter was adjourned.
Yes.
And when everybody came back, the district attorney moved to dismiss the case.
Yes.
The district attorney moved before you even had an opportunity to put on your case. At the
Yes.
end of their case, the district attorney said, we move to dismiss in the furtherance of justice. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, this report says that they found on your U-Haul a smudge of blue paint that was consistent with the blue paint on the car, her car.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
Yes, I can. When she got on the right-hand side of the truck and she was driving and cussing and carrying on, she skinned the side of the truck. At 35 miles an hour, she claimed that I hit her, that she skid and collided with me at 35 miles an hour.
I read what she said.
Okay, these are the photos.
I read the exact statement she gave to the police, which contained no information about her boyfriend being in the car, anything like that. As far as her statement to the police was concerned, you were total strangers and you totaled her car, and so may I see the photographs that you have?
In the photographs, you will see her car. The hood of it is dented and the grill is missing, but she admitted in court that that was damage that was done previously. That was not damage caused by the U-Haul. At 35 miles an hour, she wouldn't have had a front.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear you.
On May 1st, I was coming from East Side. All of a sudden, I see this U-Haul truck approaching me on the opposite side. She turned to the left. I just put the steering wheel a little bit to the right. That's why she hit the car. I have my pictures right here. On the side, you can see that's when she hit it.
What's your boyfriend's name, or what was his name?
Gino.
Gino. Was Gino in the U-Haul?
No.
Really? She says there was a person driving in the car who you knew. Is that true?
No. I don't know what.
Really?
I don't know
Ms. Jones.
what she's talking about.
Yes.
I don't know who's this guy. No.
You know who that person is?
No. Even when I went to trial, they asked me. I didn't know him.
What about Michael?
Yes, I know. That's the guy I knew.
You have Michael's telephone number?
Yes, I do.
I'll take it.
1
Now, why do you believe that the district attorney moved to dismiss the case after you and your mother testified?
I don't know.
You have no idea? All right. What's your name, by the way?
Gino?
Gino! You weren't in the U-Haul at that day, were you?
Nope. And I've been with her for 19 months.
Okay. Well, let me go see if I can get in touch with Michael.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica Jones says Martha Escada falsely accused her of hit and run. She claims Martha was trying to pull a scam.
Well, Michael isn't there, but maybe I can get some information from the district attorney. By the way, do you have any photographs of your cars?
Yes, and I have another question. Who's this guy that she's telling you that that guy knew me? I want to see this guy, and I want to see if he's telling the truth. I don't know this guy. I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, bring the guy, tell me to my face that he knew me, and I'll tell to his face that I knew him too.
The question is not whether this guy knew you, madam. The question is whether you pulled up on the side of her truck. There was somebody in the car that you wanted to talk to. She wouldn't pull over, and then you claimed that she hit your vehicle and took off. She says that the U-Haul, it did in fact come in contact with your car, but it was because you were driving like a nut. So
Nope.
I want to see what the district attorney
That
has to
is
say.
not
If
true.
I can find the district attorney's name here, Richard Quinones. Let's see if we can locate him. And you have the paperwork while we're getting, see if we can get the
I have the
number.
police
You have the
report right
paperwork?
here, and I have pictures of my car.
Okay, let me see.
Also wanted to show the character when the police went to serve her. She said they didn't live there, and they do.
You didn't live where?
Initially when they went to serve her, and she said, "Oh, no one's here by that name. No one
Okay,
lives
about
here."
that.
And then the 10 days, my loss in pay, I brought my pay stub.
Just a second.
Okay.
I have to first find out whether these are false charges.
Okay.
That's what I have to find out.
Okay.
Do you understand?
All right. Yes, I do.
I mean, I wish I could get in touch with old Michael. That would make things easy. But since I can't, and you don't know the names of any of the other people.
No, I don't.
Okay. But why don't you have a seat?
Is it okay if I...
Yes, is Mr. Quinones there, please?
Yo estaba discutiendo con ellos y yo me puse a un lado de ella.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. I haven't been able to reach either the district attorney at this hour, nor Mr. Alexander, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
So I want you to just hang around, and I'll see you back here as soon as we are able to get either one of these two people who should
Okay,
be
I
able
just
to
gave my
give.
cell phone number.
You have a cell phone number for whom?
Michael Alexander.
Oh, that's perfect. Maybe we can do that. Yes.
When they went to serve me to that address, I moved since December. So I don't live in that address anymore. I live in Lake LA.
It's not important. Why is that important?
Because she said that when they went looking for me at that address, somebody told the police officer that...
And I
there's no
told her
one-
that wasn't important.
Okay.
The only thing that's important to me is whether or not you knew or appeared to have known someone who was driving in the truck with her on that date. And I would be also curious to find out why the district attorney moved on their own motion to dismiss this case after you and your mother testified. So we'll see you back here. Okay. Thank you. Well, I managed to speak to the assistant district attorney who handled the case. And after speaking to the assistant district attorney, he did in fact confirm to me that after the two of you testified, he decided to go out and have a personal look at the car that you say was damaged by the plaintiff. And after he made this personal inspection of the car, he believed that the damages to the car were inconsistent with the testimony that the two of you gave in court before she even had to put on her case. So he doubted your word, especially yours. That's number one. Number two, we were in fact successful in securing Michael Alexander's presence here for the recall. So, Bert, I believe Mr. Alexander is outside. Would you bring him in, please?
Sure thing, Judge. Michael Alexander?
Would you swear the witness, please?
Sure thing. Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in the matters before you?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record.
Michael Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, prior to coming into court just now, did you speak to Miss Jones?
Yes.
Did she tell you the questions that she thought I would be asking you?
No.
Okay. You helped her move sometime in, when was it, May?
Yes.
And you had a couple of other people that you had gotten to help
Yes,
her?
ma'am.
Who were those other people?
Keith and Jose.
Do you know their last names?
No. I met them at labor.
There came a time that Miss Jones came to your house to pick you up.
Yes.
And these two other men were with you in the truck and you moved one day.
Yes.
Do you remember the second day of your move?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember an incident involving this young lady right here?
Yes.
Look at me and tell me what you remember.
Well, I remember that we was traveling down Avenue K after we dropped off her furniture at her house and was headed back to the storage. And Jose said, that's my girlfriend. And I seen her throw a U-turn.
Jose, put your hand down. Jose said, that's my girlfriend.
Yes.
Where was she when he said, that's my girlfriend?
She was headed east coming down Avenue K.
And what happened next?
She threw a U-turn and she came up on the U-Haul and she was driving all erratic and fast. She was flashing her lights and blowing her horn and doing hand signals up out the window. And
Did Jose say anything to her?
he said, well, she asked him, do you want me to pull over? And he said, no, don't stop. She just wanted to argue. And so we kept going.
Did you see Jose after the move? Have you seen him since?
No.
Have not?
No, ma'am.
Is there any question in your mind that this was the young lady in the car?
No.
Look at me. What color car was she driving?
Blue.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions for Mr. Alexander, you can ask me and I will ask him.
Okay. Who is this guy, Jose? I don't know nobody by that name, Jose. And I'm not going to let these people get away with it because they're lying. No. I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Miss Jones, I've been involved in the criminal justice system for a very long time. And I'll tell you right now, very rarely does a district attorney who takes a case to trial, impanels a jury of 12 people, wastes court time, expends time in preparing a case. Very rarely does a district attorney stand up at the end of their case and say, we don't believe our witnesses to the extent that we're moving to dismiss this case because we don't even want it to go any further. I mean, maybe on one hand I can remember that amount of time. This district attorney didn't believe you, didn't believe your mother about what happened. And I don't know who Jose is, but I certainly see the pictures of your car, and I've listened to her testify. I believe her. That's all I have to believe. I believe that you were having some sort of an argument with a guy who was in that U-Haul it, and you were behaving erratically. She wouldn't pull over. You got ticked off. You called, and I believe that there was contact with the U-Haul. There's no question in my mind that there was contact with the U-Haul. It was your fault. And maybe you thought you could make a couple of bucks. No. That's what I think. That's what I think. And the fact that you called the police. Have you ever been incarcerated before, Miss Jones?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
I think that not only did you cause her trouble, because I looked at how many times she had to appear in court based upon your phone call to the police that was fraudulent, she had to appear in court. She had to be embarrassed. There's a certain embarrassment about it. When it was your fault and you lied. And she's entitled to what she's asking for, which is $5,000. And I'm entering a judgment for that. $5,000 for the plaintiff. That's all. Step back.
Now, this is case number 184 on the calendar in the matter of Brooks versus Stout.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Brooks, these are your two sons? Mm-hmm. And you're here only because they're minors.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't present during this incident, is that right?
No.
Why don't you have a seat? And this is your son?
Yes.
And you're here because he's a minor?
Correct.
And you weren't there during the course of this incident,
Correct.
even though if I find in the plaintiff's favor, you're going to have to pay the judgment. But you weren't there. So why don't you have a seat?
Thank you.
Now I have before me the idiots. So you're in one car and you're in another car.
No. I was standing on the side of the road.
Tell me what happened, Justin.
We was driving around the square.
Listen to me. How old are you?
16.
Do you go to school?
Yes, I do.
You were driving around.
We were driving around the loop, and we was at a stop sign, and a truck...
You were at a stop sign?
Yes. And a truck was in front of me, and a truck was behind me, and they blocked me, and I couldn't move. And, like, 6 or 7 girls came up kicking out my car, and I couldn't move or anything. And then all of a sudden I see Tyson running up to my car, and...
How many people were in your car?
It was me, Dustin, and my ex-girlfriend.
Now, did you know these people in the trucks that were blocking you?
No, I don't.
Where had you been that evening?
I was at my girlfriend's house because that was her birthday.
So did she have a party?
No, it was just...
You were?
We...
Just?
Yes. I guess.
Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't actually a party. It was just hanging out at her house, and we decided to go cruising, so we went up cruising.
What's cruising?
Well, cruising the loop, like driving around listening to music.
Cruising the what?
Loop.
Cruising the loop.
Yeah.
What is your version of having fun?
Listening to music and talking to people on the square. That's when that accident happened.
What accident?
That when we got pretty much jumped.
So far, what you've told me is a bunch of girls came up to your car and started to kick the car.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Let's pick it up from there.
Well, he kicked out the window.
But I thought the girls were kicking the car.
Well, they were, and then he ran up to the car, kicked the window out, and then...
Which window?
It was the passenger right window.
Pretty high kick.
Yeah.
He kicked the window out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and then what happened?
And then Dustin was getting out of the car to run, and then Tyson cut his arm.
How did Tyson cut his arm?
I didn't see it because I was...
You didn't see it?
I was driving, so...
You didn't see it? Is that right?
That's right.
So then we go to Dustin.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you twins?
Yes, ma'am.
You always dress alike?
No, ma'am.
Did you do that especially for me today?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you thought it would
Yes,
confuse me?
No, ma'am.
You're Dustin.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened to you.
When I was getting out...
What were you getting out for?
To run. Because there were so many kids around, I ain't sticking around.
Just a minute. How many kids were around?
Probably 15.
What were they doing around your car?
Actually, I don't know. They don't like me.
Dustin, something tells me something happened before that, Dustin.
Actually, there was nothing happened. They don't like us because in the past, there was the girls.
Who's we?
Me and Justin. The girls that they was going out with their boyfriends and everything, they didn't like us. And
I want you to, at all times when you're testifying, I want you to look in my eyes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the girls didn't like you because they were going out with their boyfriends and blah, 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 blah. I didn't get anything after that. That made sense.
Because we get in fights with them because they don't like us, okay? So
you get in fights with the girls or the boys?
The boys. And so the women hates us for that.
So the girls hate you?
Yes.
Why do you get in fights with the boys, Dustin?
Because I don't know how to read and they pick on me and I ain't taking nobody's crap. It's that.
That was... And...
That's the reason.
And so, because of that, you think that these people don't like you. You don't say anything to them.
No.
You never start up with you never start up with them.
No.
Does your brother know how to read?
No.
Is there any reason?
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
What do you mean you don't know? Do you go for special tutoring?
Yes.
For how long?
For how long? Since we was in kindergarten.
Do you go to school every day?
Yes, ma'am.
Every day?
Not every day, no.
Dustin, don't throw the bull at me. Because if you can drive a car, I assume you have a license, you had to take a test. You had to take, as part of the test, a written test.
We didn't take a written test, ma'am.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
How come?
Because we don't know how to read.
So they allowed you to drive a car without knowing how to read. Stop, go, hazard ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
What state is that?
It's Iowa.
I'm staying out of there. How often do you go to school? Once a week, maybe?
No, ma'am.
The reason why we go probably once a week is because we don't get taught nothing, because they didn't teach us timetables or multiplication tables or anything like that.
So now you stay home and cruise.
No, I don't cruise anymore.
So tell me what happened, Dustin, after you were going to get out of the car and run.
Well, I put my left arm up on...
Watch, right here.
I put my left arm up on the door, and I was looking down to push myself up out of the car, and Tyson come up and cut my arm, and I look at him, I see the knife in his hand, and he took off running with everybody else took off running, and Justin tells me to get back in the car, sit down. By then the truck was in front of us, was gone. We took off, went to the hospital.
You went to the hospital?
I got 5 stitches, and there's pictures and stuff like that my mom has.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
One of my friends told me because he was going out with one of the girls at the time that they liked. They threatened to kill his baby before.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 16-year-olds Justin and Dustin Brooks claim 17-year-old Tyson Stout attacked them with a knife. Tyson says the twins threatened to kill his friend's baby.
Now, were you charged with assault?
No, ma'am.
What were you charged with?
Burglary in the 2nd degree.
Burglary?
Forcing entry into an occupied structure.
Tyson, I want you to tell me, and I want you to be very careful, Tyson, because, you know, I already got their story. I want you to tell me your version. By the way, you go to school in Iowa?
I don't go to school. I got my GED. I'm starting college in February.
Does anybody ever finish high school in your jurisdiction?
No.
No. All right. Tell me what you were doing standing on the side of the road, and what was going on at the side of the road where these guys were cruising?
Me and some friends were just staying around.
Listen, you're starting college next year?
Yeah. Some friends and I.
Yeah.
They're standing around talking, having fun, and then these two, they just keep on driving around mouthing and
Mouthing what?
just calling us names and
Like
running
what?
old stuff like that. The F word,
And how many times did they drive around?
probably 2 or 3.
Any of that sound familiar to you? Justin and Dustin?
No, ma'am.
because
Go ahead.
And about the 3rd time they pulled around, we had a car, not a truck, stop them. And one of my friends told me, sticking up for one of my friends, one of them told me that they threatened to kill his baby before because he was going out with one of the girls at the time that they liked, and she had a baby. And he told me that.
How old was this genius?
At 18.
Go ahead.
I was going to go up and say something to him. He rolled up the window real quick, got mad, kicked the car door.
You went up to the car because you were really mad because a friend of yours told you that somebody disrespected somebody.
Threatened his family.
Threatened his baby.
Yeah.
So that you went up to the car to confront them, which was very
Wrong.
stupid.
Yeah.
And then he did the smart thing. He rolled up the window
Yes.
because he had been doing a very stupid thing, cruising around and calling people names and, you know, just being a general Tweedledum and Tweedledee, being two idiots, right?
Yes.
Because I expect the truth from you. I really expect the whole truth from you. From them, I didn't get the truth so far. All I got from them was they were just driving around being very mild young men because They suffer from a handicap because they can't read, because they have a disability, because despite the fact that they go to school every day and try very, very hard to learn, they can't learn to read, right?
Yep.
So I expect the truth from you. And you went up to the car, and how many times did you kick the car?
Once.
And when you kicked the car once, did you break the window?
Yes.
What happened next?
I ran to a friend's car, got in the car, and left.
Did you at any time cut Dustin with a knife?
No, ma'am.
Were you ever charged with cutting him with a knife?
No, ma'am.
Anybody have a police report?
Your Honor, I went to get a police report, but they couldn't release it because he was a juvenile.
Nobody has a police report.
I couldn't get one.
Now, you were found guilty of whatever, of vandalizing the car, which you did kick
Burglary.
at least once. Burglary.
Yes.
Was this the first time you were convicted of anything, or have you been convicted of something before?
I had a possession of alcohol charge before and assault causing injury before.
Assaulting whom?
A kid is picking on my little sister.
And what did you do to him?
Put him in a headlock, slammed him into the locker.
Tyson, you got to learn to control yourself.
I have.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Well, you haven't. At least you didn't on that evening, because you went up to the car for no reason. This fight didn't concern you at all.
No.
And you went up there and kicked their car. Now, according to you, Justin, there were a lot of girls around there who were kicking your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you charge any of them?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I was not going to get out of my car because there was too many of them, and I'm not going to get out of my car to hit a girl.
I didn't ask you why you didn't hit him. I asked you why you didn't tell the police that there were a lot of people there kicking your car, making dents in your car before he came
We did.
to the
I did,
car.
ma'am.
Did you have damage to your car?
Not by the girls.
How do you know that?
Because I live on a gravel road with and I had a lot of dust on my car, and there was no dents or anything.
So the only damage that was done to your car was him knocking the window out of your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
And when I was trying to get out of the car, I accidentally put my foot through, like, where my speaker was, because my foot got caught.
What were you trying to get out of the car for?
Because I was going to run.
15 people around you and you were going to run? Or were you going to fight them?
I was going to run.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
Fighting.
There's no such crime in the penal law as fighting.
Assault.
There's assault in the penal law. And you?
Same thing.
Assault.
Yes.
How many times, Justin, have you been arrested for assault?
Numerous times.
And you, Dustin?
Same thing.
How many times have you been found guilty of assault?
Every
Many
time.
times.
Because I committed to him.
What do you mean you committed to him?
I said,
Plead guilty.
I told him that I did it. I didn't lie about it.
But you don't learn. Can I see the paperwork on the order of conviction for burglary and any other paperwork that you have with regard to a court order by a judge? Moms, you can stand up now. I want to see it. Tyson, how come you lied initially?
So I didn't want to get in trouble for it.
Who did you lie to? Police?
My JCO,
What's JCO?
juvenile court officer.
And when you lied to the juvenile court officer initially, Tyson, did you lie to him the same kind of face that you're lying to me?
No.
I want you to show me your lying face.
Grin.
What?
I have a grin on my face when I lie.
Really? He believed you when you lied to him initially, right?
Yep.
It's just sometimes hard to figure out who's lying and who's not.
Yep.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Ah, right. Because the first time you spoke to your juvenile officer, you told him you didn't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. Well, after you had this problem in 1999, Tyson, you were expelled from school for another problem with another student. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Got a bad temper?
Yep.
Now I'd like to see the paperwork you have as a result of this incident.
I just got medical bills here.
So you didn't turn it in to your insurance?
The hospital didn't turn it in, no.
I'm surprised. Why not?
That I have no idea. They didn't turn it in. The insurance cards was there, but they never turned it in.
Well, they will. They will. They should. And your boys are covered?
They're covered.
Now I'd like you to come up here, Dustin, because I want to take a look at your arm.
Yes, ma'am.
this the scar?
Yeah, big one right there. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Tyson, I have to make a judgment whether or not you actually cut Dustin with a knife. And it is my belief that you did. Because when somebody is injured like that, and there's no question, I've read the hospital records, and there's no question he had a laceration, and there's no question that he had sutures. When that happens, you want the person who is responsible to be prosecuted. Now, you were, in fact, charged with assault with a weapon. The fact that you pled guilty to cover all the charges and the rest of the charges were dismissed doesn't mean that you were found not guilty of those charges. It means that you pled. It means that you pled out.
Plea bargain.
That's right. Look how smart you're getting. You also have a temper. Now, these two idiots were driving around, and their mother knows that they were driving around doing the wrong thing, right?
Well, yeah.
They were doing the wrong thing, but that doesn't give you license to take out even a pocket knife, which is what you took out, and cut him. Doesn't give you license to do that. You're lucky. You're lucky that they let you get away with it.
But I didn't stab him, ma'am.
Yes, you did. You stabbed him. You didn't stab him. You cut him. I mean, stabbing is this way.
His ex-girlfriend came up to me last week and apologized for lying to the cops about it.
Listen, you tell me who cut him.
Nobody did.
Sure they did. He was cut.
He cut himself.
How?
With a knife?
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
You think that he's dumb enough to do that? I mean, it's possible.
Yes, I do.
It's possible that he's dumb enough to do that. Possible. I don't think so. And the problem is that you put yourself in the situation by going over, getting involved in a situation that you had absolutely no reason to be involved with. Somebody said something made you mad. You went up to the car, kicked the car, knocked the window out. Stupid. The fact that you started it because you were looking for trouble, driving around, shouting out of the car, you were with your girlfriend, it was her birthday, your mother shouldn't have let you drive a car anyway. They don't go to school. You explain to me why they don't go to school.
They've been on add and subtract since they've been in second grade, and I'm tired of it. 95% of the kids in Iowa get their GED.
In any event, I find that you cut them. I also find that they're a little bit culpable themselves and that they had no out-of-pocket expenses with regard to this injury because the insurance is going to cover it. Now, did he pay for breaking the window?
No, I've got the estimate on
Just tell me how much it was for breaking the window.
The window is at $189, but I've got pictures of other damages that was done to the car.
I don't care what the other damage was done to the car. There were 12 girls around the car that they chose not to identify because your son said, well, we live on a dirt road and the car was very dirty. He went up, he kicked the car, he kicked the window out of the car, and there were 12 other people involved. So it's $189 for the car and $1,000 for cutting him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,189. That's all.
Physical therapist David Hermanson says Secretary Rhonda Moss won't return the money he paid her for a wedding ring. She says he changed his mind too many times.
Order. All rise. Judge, it's number 127 on the calendar in the matter of Hermanson versus Moss. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Hermanson.
Yes, ma'am.
You work in the same office as the defendant.
I used to. And I
At the time of this incident,
yes,
you're working in the same office. And you at that time fell in love, not with the defendant,
no,
but with somebody else.
Yes.
And wanted to buy an engagement ring.
Yes, Your Honor.
She had a ring to sell.
Correct.
Said, I want to take a look at it, I want to think about it. Took it home, thought about it, returned it.
Yes.
Then a while later you decided, well, maybe I do want it.
Mm-hmm.
So you told her you wanted it back.
Right. And gave her $300 as a good faith deposit to hold while I took the ring.
For a second time?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Well, I brought the ring to be appraised at a very nice, very good jewelry store in St. Louis, one of the best. He told me the ring was not at all worth what Rhonda claimed it was. I thanked him. I brought the ring back. I gave it to Rhonda. At the time, I did not ask for my $300 back.
Why?
She was very irate. She wanted me to buy the ring. She was in a bad mood, and I never for a moment suspected that she would keep my money.
So you gave her back the ring and you didn't get your money back?
Correct.
And how long did that go on?
Well, later on the same day, Your Honor, I started thinking about it, and I thought, hey, I better get my money back. And I approached Rhonda, who at that time told me I gave the check to my mother, who takes care of all of my expenses, and I had to pay my bills for it with the money. Furthermore, I called my bank, and I found out Rhonda cashed my check the day before I even gave her the ring back.
Because she anticipated that you were buying this ring.
No, I told her that I would have it appraised and let her know the next day, which I did.
What was the total purchase price, by the way?
The price was never firmly fixed, but somewhere over $1,000.
Now, why didn't you take it to have it appraised the first time you had the ring? What'd you do with it the first time you had the ring?
I took it home and I thought about it, and I was really indecisive. I took my time, maybe a week, thinking about it, talking to Holly, my girlfriend, and trying to get an idea of what kind of ring she would like.
And you're telling me that you didn't have it appraised during the week?
Not the first week, no.
And then you took it a second time?
Yes.
That's when you decided to have it appraised?
Yes.
Now, what exactly did you say to her when you took the ring the second time?
I said, Rhonda, I'm not really sure, but I think I might want to buy that ring again. If you'll give it to me again, I will take it and have it appraised, and this time I will let you know for certain whether I want it or not. And if I want it, I will promptly pay you for it. We had negotiated a price of $800 at that point.
So the second time you had negotiated a purchase price?
I believe $800, Your Honor, yes.
Okay. Ms. Moss, let's hear your version.
Oh, my version's slightly different than his. It was before Christmas time, and he had fallen in love with this girl after knowing her for only 4 weeks. And he was all uptight because he couldn't get any place to finance.
See how quiet she was?
Yes.
He couldn't get anybody to finance engagement ring for him. So I was kidding around, telling him I'm going through a divorce. I'd be gladly to sell you mine. And nothing else was really said that day, but the next day he came up to me in the morning and goes, I really thought about what you said. I would like to buy your ring. Could you go get it for me?
You mean he didn't say to you, I would like to see the ring?
No, he just said he would like to buy it. Could I go get it for him? And I said, well, the ring is at my parents' house, and that's, you know, a half hour away. You know, I really can't do it today. He pressured me all morning long. Finally, I said, okay, out of the kindness of my heart, I'll drive out to Gray Summit on my lunch break and pick up that ring for you. So I did. I drove out there. It took an hour. I came back, showed him the ring, and he said, do you mind if I take it and have it appraised? And I finally said, yeah, but he gave me a $1,000 check because he took the ring, and he asked me how much it was worth, and I told him what I had paid for it.
How much did you pay for it?
Approximately $2,400, but I would sell it to him for $1,800. So he took the ring, told me not to cash the check for, I think it was approximately about a week. So he had the ring for a week or so, and then came back and said, you know, I don't think I want this ring. It wasn't as much as worth as much as what you had said. He gave me the ring back, and I gave him this $1,000 check. The next morning, my pager goes off 3 times before I go to work, and it was his voice on there. Please, Rhonda, I've changed my mind. I really want that ring. Could you bring it in for me? You know, 3 pages right in a row. So I did. I brought that ring back in for him. And at that time, he's, you know, all upset because his finances weren't that well and that he really couldn't pay $1,800 for it. But we made an agreement. I said, I'll sell it to you for $1,000. At that time, he couldn't give me $1,000. So he handed me a check for $300 and told me not to cash it till Monday. That Monday came along, I cashed the check and paid bills that I needed to pay with it. He comes up to me and says, my girlfriend broke up with me.
On Monday?
On Monday, after I had cashed the check. I can't buy this ring no longer. I'm like, I'm sorry, we made an agreement. You know, that's it. And later on that day, he came into my office very irate and mean, walked into my office shaking and telling me, you got to give me that money back. And he had me frightened. And from that point on, he wouldn't speak to me. He'd just come up to me and look at me like, you know, he'd kill me.
So now you have the ring and it's $300?
Well, the ring is missing. All this time since I've been separated, I kept the ring at my parents' house in a safe place. Now with all this hassle, I couldn't tell you what happened to it.
All this hassle was he gave you back the ring, madam. That's not all this hassle. He gave you back the ring. So you have the ring and his $300. So even if I said you have to give him back the ring and he's got to pay for it, according to you, you can't do that.
No,
Is that right?
No, I cannot.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that you don't know where this ring is. In any event, you're entitled to your $300 back.
Thank you.
But Mr. Hermanson, just for my own curious information, did you break up with this girl?
Never. And I would...
Is this the lady?
Yes, this is Holly.
Did you get her another ring?
No, but I've done a lot of looking since then.
I'm sure she appreciates you looking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Jerry, listen to me. That dog clearly likes you. I mean, I saw that the last time we were here. I have to decide what's in the dog's best interest. This is not a pen. This is not a gavel. This is a creature that has emotions.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. David Hermanson says Secretary Rhonda Moss won't return the money he paid her for a wedding ring.
Listen, Mr. Hermanson, let me tell you a couple of things that I don't find logical, sir. I don't find logical that you had the ring in your possession for 1 week and you didn't take the ring to have it appraised during the week that you had the ring, but took it to be appraised during the 2 days that you had it over a weekend. That doesn't make sense to me. Irrespective of that, she can't keep the ring and your $300. And she has the ring, and she's lying to me when she says she doesn't know where it is. I don't believe that. So you're entitled to your $300 back. You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $300. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
In my purse when I was in my office. That's the last time I saw the ring.
I never lied, I never stole, but the person I was suing basically lied and stole from me.
And now the next case.
Parties on Snodgrass versus Levancil. Step forward, please.
Previously on Judge Judy, 28-year-old student Jerry Snodgrass wanted his dog Missy back from former girlfriend, 30-year-old nurse Laura Levancil Vasquez. She's in love with the dog and wants to keep her. The judge decided that Missy should visit Jerry's home to see if she was comfortable with his other dogs. The visit was videotaped. Animal behaviorist Dr. Richard Polsky watched Missy interact with the other dogs during her visit. Jerry Snodgrass is suing his ex-girlfriend, Laura Levancil Vasquez, for the return of his dog, Missy.
How have you been?
Okay.
Hello again.
All right, when you were last here, we had gone through a substantial portion of this case. Very briefly, if my memory is correct, this is the dog an issue. You two had been together for a long time. During the time that you were together, you bought this dog. The dog was registered in your name. You claim it was a partial birthday present from her. In any event, the dog was registered in your name. When you broke up, you couldn't take the dog with you. The dog stayed with you for a substantial period of time. You now want the dog back. Is that where we are at?
Correct.
And what I had suggested was that we try some doggy visitations and see how they went. And in order to further assist me in making a decision, because I felt as if, listen, this is still a warm-blooded, smart creature of God, must have some feelings of its own about where she wants to live. Court authorized the use of an expert witness, and that's Dr. Roger Polsky. Is Dr. Polsky in the courtroom?
Yes.
Could you step up, please? Dr. Polsky, will you please give me a brief vitae? What are your credentials, where you were employed, where you went to school?
I'm currently president of a corporation named Animal Behavior Counseling Services located in West Los Angeles. The primary function of my business is to provide direct training and behavioral counseling services to owners throughout Los Angeles. I have a PhD in animal behavior.
From where?
from the University of Leicester, England.
Did you, at the court's request, attend a visit involving this little dog here?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me what you observed?
At the defendant's home, I observed her dog in the backyard interacting with the other resident dog, which was a German Shepherd dog. And subsequent to that, I asked the owner to engage the dog, Missy, in certain exercises. And from that, I drew certain conclusions.
I'd like to hear them.
My assessment of Missy is that she fits the mold of a typical terrier, being a Jack Russell dog. She's spunky. I consider her a dominant dog. As a terrier dog, she's very strong-willed, and I believe she has a dominant role over this German Shepherd dog, who is probably 4 or 5 times her size. I also concluded that she is a very people-orientated dog. She's a kind of dog who needs to be with people. I also felt that Laura comes from a family where she was around dogs for her entire life. And she impressed me as a person who has a good understanding of canine behavior and the needs dogs require.
And anything else you want to add to that, sir?
I felt that Missy was comfortable in the presence of that home where Laura resided. I was impressed with the setup she had. It's a very typical terrier. It's a dog who needs people. It's a very strong-willed dog.
And from there, you went to the plaintiff's home.
That's correct.
Tell me what you observed, sir.
Laura showed up with Missy, and I requested that Jerry bring each one of his 3 dogs. There's 3 dogs that resided in the location where he was living. He was living in his parents' home. And Jerry was to bring each dog out singly so they encounter each other on the street. And after Jerry brought the first dog out, I instructed Laura to approach with Missy. And I studied the interactions between the dogs when they came proximate to each other.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy. Jerry Snodgrass is suing his ex-girlfriend, Laura Levancel Vasquez, for the return of his dog, Missy.
Did you draw any conclusions as a result of what you saw with the 3 dogs?
With the 3 dogs, well, I eventually observed the 3 dogs in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the structure of the situation with the 3 dogs there is that they have a very established social group.
That does not include Missy?
Does not include Missy. There's the 3 dogs whose Jerry parents own. Jerry's residing in his parents' home, and they have these 3 dogs who are all adult, have been living together for a long time, and they have a very closed social group. And we introduced Missy, and she's not a dog person.
You think she's a people person rather than...
She has absolutely a people person dog, a strong-willed terrier, and in that, what Jerry has is a closed social group. He has adult dogs who've been living together for a reasonable period of time, and that's the situation in his house.
What's his plan? You said that you spoke to him before
Yes.
the dog came in. What was his plan?
His plan is to finish school, then to work for the fire department in the capacity as a paramedic. And my concern there was that in that capacity, it would take him away totally from his house for at least 10 days at a time, or maybe a week at a time. That was a concern of mine.
Well, I've heard what your conclusion would in all probability be, and that would be that since the plaintiff at this point is planning a career that would take him outside of the home for an extended period of time, since the dog is clearly a dog that relates better to people than it does to other animals, that the best interest of the animal, based upon that issue alone, would be to continue to reside where she does.
Well, can I add one thing here?
Sure.
Which doesn't get to the ultimate conclusion. When you introduce a dog of Missy's temperament, strong-willed, a dog who wants to have its own way, and you introduce it into an already established group, although we don't see any fighting, I'm wondering what it would do to the temperament of the dog.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. You're excused. Okay. Thank you. Jerry.
Yes, Your Honor.
You got to get another dog if you want a dog. Do you understand?
I understand why, Your Honor.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. You know, it's very difficult to make a decision with regard to this animal because this is not a pen, this is not a gavel, this is a creature that has feelings, that clearly has a social structure. Right? And it's very difficult for me, and I'm certain it's very difficult for any other judge to be put in a position of having to make a decision with regard to what I consider is a living, breathing thing that has emotions. They get sad, they are happy, they get depressed. You've seen that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Doctor says that you plan to start a career that's going to take you away from your home for a week or 10 days at a time.
It's not 10 days at a time, it's 10 days a month.
10 days a month.
Mm-hmm.
10 days a month. And for that 10-day-a-month period, what do you intend to do with this dog?
I plan on hopefully being married at the time, or I lived with roommates previous, and they took care of...
That's iffy. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yes.
Have you discussed marriage with your girlfriend?
Not currently, no.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Jerry, listen to me. I think you've gotten a really fair shake here in this courtroom. That dog clearly likes you. I mean, I saw that the last time we were here. I have to decide what's in the dog's best interest.
I thought your worries were that she would not get along with my dogs at my parents' house.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. If you listen very carefully to what the doctor said that there are 3 adult dogs in your parents' house that clearly have formed a family, a little pack. This dog is not a member of that group. Now, it's possible that if the dog was there for an extended period of time, the dog might become bonded and they might accept her into their family, right?
So,
that possible?
Yeah, it's
Just
possible.
about the time you're ready to move. But right now, according to this expert witness, it was very, very helpful to me. This dog has a good home where the dog is comfortable, where the dog relates well to the other single dog that's there, where it's stable, and you're not. You're all over the place. So your case is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm very happy. It's what was in the best interest of the dog. This is not, like she said, it's not a pen. You know, this animal has been with me her whole life. He's never not been able to see the dog. He chooses not to see the dog. This was out of spite.
Lauren Cardenas for money from selling his motorcycle. Lauren says the money was used for child support.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 164 on the calendar in the matter of Cardenas versus Cardenas. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
You folks are currently divorced.
Yes, ma'am.
And you, sir, are under a $1,200 a month support obligation for your former wife and your 2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, in addition to your wife and your 2 children, you also used to have a motorcycle.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were called back to the Philippines where your family is.
Right, because my dad was debilitated.
And you left your motorcycle with your former wife to sell.
Yes, ma'am. In an agreement that because of the time of my absence, at least when she sells the motorcycle, there'll be the month that will be paid for the child support because of my stay in the Philippines.
Okay, so you left her your motorcycle and you said sell it.
Right.
And use some of the money to pay my month's support obligation.
Correct.
And how long were you in the Philippines?
Approximately a month.
And when you came back, you had in fact sold the motorcycle.
Yes, ma'am, I did. Yes, ma'am.
I assume you have a bill of sale for me?
I have a receipt from the company telling how much I got for it and what it was.
Fine. And how much did you get for the motorcycle?
$3,400 for the condition it was in.
Okay. And you left, according to these papers, in April.
Correct.
Were you fully paid up in April?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am, he was not.
According to your wife, your former wife, you were not fully paid up in April. You still owed her something, like $300. Is that right?
Yes.
In which I paid cash before I left.
Did you always pay it by check?
No, not always,
No,
because
his
we
checks
had
bounced.
So he would pay you in cash?
Whenever I could get it in cash, that's what I preferred.
Mr. Cardenas, how long are you divorced?
A year.
Approximately a year.
In the future, you should give your wife a money order, not cash.
I know.
Do you understand?
Well, the only...
Take a deep breath. Try to listen to me. Try to listen to me.
Okay.
If you give her a money order, then you will have a receipt.
I understand that from now on,
Good.
Judge.
She says your checks bounce. She doesn't want a check.
That's correct.
I can understand that. But there is a happy medium. You give her money orders.
See, I always have the money, and I always tell, like I told her.
Not always. Just pay attention.
I am.
Good. So from now on, you're going to give her your support payments in a money order.
Money order or check, correct?
No. You say check. I said money order.
Money order, all right.
Money order is where you go to the bank and get a money. Are you chewing gum?
Yes, ma'am.
No. Okay. Let's not talk about April. April is $300. You came back in May.
Yes.
Did you pay your May support payment?
I did not, because he sold the motorcycle.
So you didn't pay May?
I didn't.
So let us take off $1,200 for May.
Less $100 because he owes me, she owes me $2,000, which I loaned to her.
Are you supposed to pay him $100 a month?
Yes, I had originally was going to pay his life insurance policy.
Right now, you're supposed to pay him $100 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So $3,400 you got for the motorcycle.
Yes, ma'am.
Less $1,200 for your May support payment is $2,200 plus $100, right? Because you're supposed to get from her $100.
Right.
Right? So that means that you should have gotten $2,300. Is that right? Now, did you pay June?
No, he didn't.
You didn't pay June?
Correct.
So less $1,200.
May I appeal also?
Just a second. Less $1,200 brings it down to $1,100. And you still are supposed to give him the $100.
Yes, ma'am.
So we got to add on another $100 there. Now up to $1,200. Now we're now in July. Did you pay July?
No, the reason being...
Did you pay July?
No, because he said you paid up till July.
Just a second. So you didn't pay July?
No, because she stated that I'm paid up till July from the sale of the motorcycle.
Just a second. So you said I'm paid up till July, so you didn't pay her in July.
Correct.
So $1,200 less $1,200 leaves zero.
Plus $100.
Plus $100. So what are you here for? What are you here for?
Well, the motorcycle is in a mint condition. I have my witness here that he could testify that the only thing wrong was it's got a flat tire. And all the things that he's saying about the deductions, it's not true because...
Shh, just a second. So what you're saying is she should have gotten more for the motorcycle.
Correct.
But you didn't tell her what to get for the motorcycle. You left her the motorcycle to sell.
Yes, and I asked for the receipt, which she didn't give me.
Oh, well, let's give him the receipt. Is this it? Now he's got a receipt. Now you got a receipt.
Why did she wait till I get down
Just a
here?
second. Now you got the receipt. And you didn't tell her, don't sell the motorcycle unless you get $4,000 for it. You said, here's the motorcycle, sell it. She sold it. She may have taken the easiest way.
No, I told her she was going to get $4,200 for the motorcycle.
You told her she was going to get it. What do you have, a crystal ball?
No, it's a blue book value.
Did you say to her, don't sell the motorcycle unless you get $4,200? Did you say that? Yes or no?
I told her at least $4,200.
No. Don't make it up as we go along.
No, I'm not making it up.
Yes, don't make it up. Did you say to her, do not sell the motorcycle unless you get this amount for it?
No, I did not.
Perfect. So she took the motorcycle and she sold it. She probably sold it the easiest way she could. She didn't put an ad in the paper. She didn't drive around the motorcycle with a helmet on, around the street with a for sale sign. She took it to a dealer and said, give me the money. Is that what you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. That's what I would have done. She got $3,400 for it, which means that you paid up for 3 months. And you didn't pay her anything. May, June, and July. Now, sir, I could understand you standing here if you said, well, when I came back, I gave her $1,200 in May, I gave her $1,200 in June, I gave her $1,200 in July. She owes me the money for the motorcycle. But I don't understand why you're here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's outrageous.
The truth has to come out.
You picked him. Mrs. Cardenas.
Are we all entitled to one mistake?
You made a big one.
And later today,
I took care of my mother for 7 long years while she was sick. I did everything. I took care of this child. No, she did not take care of me. She kicked me out.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joelle Cardenas wants the balance of the money from the motorcycle his ex-wife, Lauren Cardenas, sold. Lauren says she used it because he was behind in child support.
Why are you here? I'm very confused.
The reason why I'm here is to be able to get, if there's any amount of balance, which I didn't even know because she didn't tell me.
I see.
Your Honor, he did know. I told him from the beginning how much I got for it. I did not have a receipt at that time. I had to go get it for court. I knew I'd have to have one for court. But from the beginning, he called me a liar. He told my children I was lying to him. You know, and he has told them horrendous things, and it all goes around money. Everything around him revolves around money.
That's too bad.
And it is, because he wants the children. He wants to take them away from me. He wants to take them to the Philippines. 14 years ago, I almost aborted my first one. I never told her. A few weeks ago, he decided she needed to know this. This is what I'm dealing with in him.
Mr. Cardenas, did you do that? Did you tell that to your daughter? Did you tell that to your daughter, sir?
Yes, I did.
That's outrageous. Do you think, Mr. Cardenas, that was designed to make your child feel better about herself?
No.
Did you think that was designed to make her feel better?
No, I feel like the truth has to come out.
Listen, Mrs. Cardenas.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have enough years to get through to him, if that's his answer to me. Unfortunately.
That's his answer.
Unfortunately, what did you do? You picked him. Mrs. Cardenas.
Are we all entitled to one mistake?
You made a big one.
Yes, I did.
The only thing that you can try to do is, if this is the response from a man who has 2 children, who he's supposed to love and nurture, to make sure that they grow up feeling really good about themselves, wanted and loved and secure, to tell a child her mother wanted to abort her so that she would be in a jar instead of sitting in a chair, that is the most despicable thing that I tell you that I've heard in a very long time. So, Mr. Cardenas, you take your attitude about child rearing and your lawsuit and get out of here. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Back up to your right, please.
Why didn't she told me the very beginning? Then I wouldn't have gone to this whole thing.
As far as my children go, I wish that I could actually even told her in more detail what he done, because I need somebody of authority to tell him how he's destroying them. He doesn't see it.
And now the next case.
Parties on Wyrick versus Stanky. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Monica Wyrick is suing her sister, 23-year-old Jennifer Stanky, over a check from their grandfather's estate.
You 2 young ladies are sisters.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
And this lawsuit isn't about a lot of money.
No.
According to you, your grandfather left some money. $500. $506. Your sister got the check. You think that half of it belongs to you. Well, what I'm interested in more than this little bit of money that we're talking about is why you would bring your sister to court for that kind of money.
Well, Your Honor, when my mother died in 1994, she kept everything in the house, everything. She kicked me out. I was 16 years old. I didn't have anything. We don't have any family at all, you know.
So it's just the 2 of you?
Yes.
Even more of a reason not to squabble over a little bit of money. Your position is that this money should go for something else.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me hear.
Okay, when I found out about the estate of my grandfather and found out about the money, I contacted my sister about it. They didn't even know that she existed. They only thought that I was the only child. I brought her in. I said, Monica, we're getting some money from my grandfather. She agreed on one thing.
Was this your maternal grandfather, your mother's father?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And I told her, whatever we got, if it was $2, $10,000, $500, the first thing we were supposed to do is buy my mother a headstone.
You mean your mother is buried without a headstone?
Yes, ma'am. I was 19 at the time. I had a 6-month-old daughter. My sister was 15. She was turning 16 in March. My mother died in August. I took care of everything. I took care of my mother for 7 long years while she was sick.
How old was she when she died?
47. I did everything.
She had cancer?
Yes, ma'am. I did everything. I took care of this child.
How old was she when your mother died?
15.
No, she did not take care of me.
She
kicked me out.
I went to the courts because I lost the house that my mother was buying because I was only 19 at the time. They didn't think I was more mature enough. My cousin came to me and said, let me take her. You have a 6-month-old. Your mother just passed away. You know, let me help you, okay? She went. She was there 2 weeks in Ocala. Because her boyfriend couldn't spend the night with her, she ran away. I brought her back into my custody. Of Christmas, we got into it.
You got into a fight?
Yes, ma'am. I hit her. I went to jail for hitting her.
How long were you incarcerated?
I was 24 hours. I couldn't do it anymore. A year later, she called me. She had no food, no lights, no nothing. And since of '96, I've been taking care of her.
Oh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why is she waiting now after 4 years to get my mother a headstone?
I think her name should be on it, beloved mother, and the year.
It's her way or no way.
Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Monica Wyrick wants her sister, Jennifer Stanky, to give her half the money she received from their grandfather's estate. Jennifer says the money is for their mother's headstone.
Listen to me. She wants to use this money to buy your mother a headstone. Stop a second. Don't you think your mother should have a headstone?
Oh, yes, I do. But why is she waiting now after 4 years to get my mother a headstone?
Where? Just a second. Did you have money to contribute to your mother's headstone?
No, I actually did. I could have used my income tax money like she could have used hers, which she had gotten around $1,000. But instead, she went and spent it on her boyfriend.
Shh. Listen to me. Listen to me. Right now, you're dealing with some unexpected money. You're dealing with $500, not enough to buy a really fancy headstone.
Right.
But for something. You only had one mother. Did you care about your mother?
Oh, I loved my mother. Of course I did.
So?
But the reason I didn't let her keep the $253 because I knew she wasn't going to use it towards the headstone. She has said that 4 years in a row, and she never once tried to even get my mother a headstone.
Let me ask you this question. If I could assure you that this money would be used to buy your mother a headstone, would you be prepared to use it for that purpose?
The problem is, okay, fine, I agree to, spending the money on my mother's headstone because I love my mother to death. I always have, always will. But we won't agree on, exactly what, we want on my mother's headstone.
Okay, listen.
It's her way or no way.
Just a second. We're going to resolve everything today. First, we're going to use that money, and you can go together to make sure that the money is used for that purpose to satisfy you if you want to. And I will have an order prepared for that purpose. But let's not leave today without deciding what's to be written on the headstone. How's that? I mean, I've never done that before.
Hey, good idea.
I mean, I've never done that before for strangers.
Good idea.
I've done it, unfortunately, for myself,
the only
but not
thing
for
I
strangers.
said was, it charges more for writing. I think her name should be on it, beloved mother, and the year. She doesn't need a long speech.
Yes, she does. She deserves it.
Okay. Now, the question is, everything that you write, listen.
Costs more.
Shh. everything, every letter that you write in the stone costs money. Can we agree that if your mother's name, beloved mother, the date of her birth and the date that she died, is what you can get for $525, which is a very small amount of money, then that's what it'll be. If he's prepared to write more on the stone for the same money, she would like something else on the stone. Are you prepared to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what else you're shaking your head like this.
You just don't know her. She's
know me.
What I'm
You
telling you is
me.
this is
You
going...
killed my animals.
Hey,
What more?
hey. This is going to be reduced to an order. So I'm trying to get the order down so that we have the entire order so that there are no mistakes. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
What else do you want on the stone?
Maybe not so much the writing, maybe just the color of the headstone. Because they have a pink marble headstone that I have looked at, you know, because when my mother was buried, she did everything wrong.
You would prefer a pink marble?
Yes, I would.
Okay. If you can get the pink marble for the same price, I somehow doubt it, but if you can get the pink marble for the same price, your sister's prepared to agree to that, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. What else? Good. So the order that the court will have drafted is as follows, that the $506 will be used to purchase a headstone for your mother. And the writing is not a problem because the writing is exactly as you've indicated and you've agreed to. Her name, beloved mother, the year of her birth, and the year of her death. It will be a pink marble stone as per your request if that can be honored at the same $525 price. Agreed? Agreed?
Yeah.
Great. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, Victoria Guerrero for a car loan and an engagement ring. Victoria says her ex-fiancé, Alfred Jr., should stand up to his parents.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 157 on the calendar in the matter of Martinez versus Guerrero. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. and Mrs. Martinez, this young lady was engaged to marry your son. Is that right?
That's correct.
This is the son.
Yes.
And you are suing her because they broke up, and you claim that she owes you money for a car. You advanced some money for a car, and also for her engagement ring.
Correct.
Which was put on your Visa credit card.
Correct.
Well, let's start with the car, because that's probably the most difficult. Tell me how much you laid out for this car, sir.
$3,500.
Okay. And did you give it at one time, the $3,500?
Yes, ma'am.
And whose hand did you physically put the money in?
I put it in Victoria's hand.
In her hand?
In her hand.
Is that correct?
That's not correct.
That's when we went over and picked up the car, and I gave it to, right in front of the guy that we bought the car from. I got the money, and I'd given it to her, and she, in turn, turned around and gave it to the guy.
Where was he?
He was right next to us.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Martinez, is instead of giving the money to your son, you gave it to her?
Correct.
Why was that?
Well, due to the fact that he didn't have a license at the time, she was going to get the car and register in her name, so this way I'd be out of liability. I didn't want any problems with the car.
I understand.
So therefore...
I understand that. What I don't understand, sir, is why you're suing her for the money.
Because she kept the car.
That was the intention.
It was the intention for her to keep the car with them as a couple.
Right.
Not as
so
out of a couple.
So, Mr. Martinez, you lent them both the money.
Yes, I did.
Right. You lent the money to them as a couple, and you lent them because this is your son and you love your son.
That's correct.
So the question is, why are you suing her for all the money?
Because she took the car with her. They're
She
no
was
longer
the only
together.
driver.
And she was the only driver.
Because
and she
she
took
was
it
the
back.
only driver because
He didn't
your
have a
son
license.
couldn't get a license.
Correct.
So she would drive him around.
Correct.
Right. Now, Ms. Guerrero, tell me your version of how you got this car.
Okay, prior to this car, we had a Mustang Ford convertible, and I was pregnant at that time, so they wanted us, his father wanted us to get a car with my baby coming. They didn't want it, because the car didn't have air conditioning, and it didn't have heater, so he wanted something nicer for our daughter. So then, that's when he had mentioned to us about his friend selling a car. So then he took both Alfred Jr. and myself to go look at the car, and then that's when we went ahead and we decided we wanted the car. Then Alfred Martinez Jr. said that the car was going to be for me as a birthday present.
No.
So
Don't speak to her.
That's how I
speak to her.
received the car. That's how. Those were his intentions along. That was
Whose car was the Mustang?
It was was my car. We bought it together, Alfred and I. So then when we sold it, we used the $1,000 that we sold the car for and put it towards the Honda, and then the balance was $2,400. And
$2,500.
And I would keep telling Alfred about, paying his family. His reply was always, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of that."
Okay. Now, when you separated from Mr. Martinez Jr., you took the car.
Correct.
And you took the car because you say that he told you it was going to be a present.
Correct.
Step up here.
Hi.
Do you want to tell me anything? Because otherwise I'll let you sit down, Mrs. Martinez.
I sit down.
Okay, go ahead. All right, let me hear about this car, sir.
Like my dad said, we went in. We got the car because Victoria was pregnant. We needed something that would be easier to put the baby in and out of.
So you wanted it so that the baby would be safe?
Yes.
And was the baby born?
Yes.
Is the baby with her mother?
Yes.
Is the baby safe?
Right now, yes, more or less.
With the car?
Not real
In the
safe.
car?
No, ma'am, not with the car.
You mean you don't have the car anymore?
Yes, I do have the car.
You still have the car?
The car's been broken down for several months. It's not even running.
But the purpose of buying the car, Mr. Martinez Jr., was so that your baby would be in a safe car.
Yes.
Now, was it your intention to pay for it?
No. Well, we had to pay back the loan, yes.
So did you do that?
No.
Now, how long were you together with this new car before you left?
Actually, he's the one that moved out in the middle of the night.
Before he moved out, how long were you together?
A total of 6 months.
Now, in that 6-month period of time...
That's not correct, Your Honor.
In that 6-month time, Mr. Martinez, how much money did you give to your father towards the loan?
$100.
You just made that up.
No, I didn't.
Why did you only give him $100?
Because according to Vicky, we never had money, and that's all we could afford.
What do you mean, according to her, you never had money?
Victoria was handling our checkbook. I was irresponsible and let her do it all by herself, and she didn't pay the bills.
So as far as you were concerned, this was a joint debt that you took on to your father, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it's fair to say that you would be responsible for half of that, correct?
Yes.
Good. Now, what do you do for a living, sir?
I work with a gas company.
You don't have money to make a gift to her, do you? Of
No.
You don't have money to make a gift to your son for $2,400?
No.
Good. Well, according to your son, he understood that this was a loan because he says he paid you back $100 of the money that was borrowed. You have the car?
Yes, I do.
You have the baby?
Yes, I do.
The reason you say you bought the car was for the baby to be safe, and that this was to be a joint responsibility. So each of you are going to be responsible to pay him back $1,400. Do you understand? I can't make a judgment against you. Your father's going to have to come to you for the $1,400. That sounds fair, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She took the car and she took the truck. Why didn't she leave the car? She just did what she wanted to do. And that's all I'm saying.
Why didn't you
Shut
I just
Hey,
want the money.
don't talk. Don't talk.
I didn't
Don't
have to.
talk. Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't be a jerk.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alfred and Irma Martinez say their son's former fiancée, Victoria Guerrero, owes them for a car loan and engagement ring.
Now, let's get to this engagement ring. Your son comes to you and says, I want to become engaged.
Correct.
I want to buy Victoria a ring. Is that what he said?
Yes, ma'am.
And?
So I took him down to the jewelry store, and it was the Christmas time, so he went and picked one out, and I got the receipts for that right here, or what was the initial payments and owed. And then he gave it to her for Christmas.
Just a second, he surprised her with it.
He surprised her with an engagement ring.
And how much did he owe on the engagement ring?
Now there's no debt owed because I paid for it.
How much did you pay?
Well, they had paid part of it, and I ended up paying $708 that were due because when she left, she had also changed my account into her address, and so she hadn't paid.
Mr. Martinez, your problem is not with her. She didn't know about the engagement ring when he went to buy it at Christmas time. Your son asked you if he could use your credit card to buy his girlfriend an engagement ring.
Right, that's correct.
So why are you suing her?
Because she's taking the ring.
Just a second.
And I paid for it.
Just a second. No, sir.
She is not entitled to a ring.
No, sir. You are wrong, Mr. Martinez. Let me tell you, you're not following, sir.
I am following.
Your son borrowed money from you.
Yes, he did.
Your son borrowed money from you to buy a gift. Let us say it wasn't an engagement ring. Let's say your son borrowed money from you to buy his girlfriend a new refrigerator. Not as romantic as a ring, but a new refrigerator. And she had the new refrigerator, and 6 months later they broke up. You think that the girlfriend would owe you the money for the refrigerator?
If I paid for it, sure.
No, sir.
And it's an engagement ring.
Your son owes you the money that you spent because you loaned him the money. You didn't.
But they were going to pay it back together.
Sir, listen to me. When the initial credit card was signed for in the store, that is when the contract took place between you and your son. She knew nothing about this contract because the ring was a surprise that she got for Christmas, according to you.
Right.
And if you want the money, there he is. Now, if he pays for this ring, and if it's an engagement ring, and if he wants it back from her, then he can sue her for the engagement ring back. But you can't get the money from her.
Just a minute, please. Well, may I say something? Sure. Then she knew about it because she agreed to pay it, because she even went and changed the address. She said, so you won't get that bill, I'll be paying the bill. That came out of Victoria. So she went and told him.
Mr. Martinez, at the time the contract was made to pay back the money was the time that you took your son to the jewelry store and purchased the ring for him to give to his girlfriend as a gift on Christmas. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. Now, you have a problem with your son paying you back for the ring?
No, I have no problem with that.
I suggest you take it up with him. Aside from the fact that there is some indication that you made partial payments on this ring, is that right?
Well, when he got laid off, I started, paying the payments for him so that his credit won't get ruined.
I was still paying the payments.
He made the payments because he was getting unemployment.
Well, that's very good that he made the payments because he made the loan from you, sir.
Well, yeah, but you can't say that she paid anything because all she did was sign a check.
I really don't even have to deal with. Hey, Mr. Martinez, look to your son for the price of the engagement ring because your contract was with him, not with her. Look to your son for 1/2 the cost of the car because your agreement was, according to you, with both of them. And I am discounting the fact that she says it was a gift because I'm not quite sure that I believe that, although he may have said that. He may have. It's really not particularly relevant. When you lent them the money, you lent it to them as a couple.
Correct.
May I say something?
What?
When they threw a baby shower for me, Alfred Martinez Jr. did tell my sister, however, that the car was a birthday present because we both went outside to show the car to them. And that's true, and you know who did that.
Do you have a child together?
Yes, we do.
I would suggest that you stop bad-mouthing her. And I would suggest that your parents, if they want to be in a position of being able to enjoy their grandchild, that they get over this problem and put it in perspective. And if you continue to badmouth her, what's going to happen is she's going to say, I'm not going to make it easy for them to see their grandchild. And you want to know something?
Oh, she has. She has.
Well, I don't.
I'm not bad-mouthing her. I just
You
want
are,
what is-
sir.
If she took the
You
car...
are, sir.
She took the car and she took the truck. Why didn't she leave the car? She just did what she wanted to do. And that's all I'm saying.
Why didn't
Let
you
me
tell
shut.
me
I just
that?
want the money.
What your
Don't
son
talk.
did.
Don't talk.
I didn't
Don't
have to. She
talk.
did. Sorry.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
don't be a jerk.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
He called me at work, Your Honor, and he was saying that all these things, bad things have been happening to him, and he felt like the reason they were happening to him is because of what he did to me.
closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Alfred and Irma Martinez say their son's former fiancée, Victoria Guerrero, owes them for a car loan and engagement ring.
I assume from reading these papers that you moved out on her. Is that right?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm sure she's a little bit annoyed at that.
Oh, very much so.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is because now you left her. She has a baby. She has the responsibility of the baby.
She wouldn't even let me have. I took the baby with me originally.
You're right.
Snuck her out in the middle of the night.
I took the baby with me originally. She came by, said she wanted to visit with the baby, and fled. Didn't let me see my child for
Just a second. What do you mean
months.
didn't let you see the child? You took the baby out without her knowing about it. You left, and you took the baby with you, and you didn't tell her that you were leaving, and you didn't tell her that you were taking the baby. So what do you mean she came by and snuck the baby out?
I left her a note. I left her a note where I was at.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,200. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The idea is that since she took the car, I think she should pay for the whole thing because he's paying for something that he doesn't have any access to, you know? So she's got the whole ball of wax,
As
and
far
I
as the
think...
ring, she's lying out of her. That's nothing but a lie.
They're just, you know, trying to take the car away and trying to take my baby away, but it's not going to happen like that.
Don't get married and don't give him any money.
Yeah.
You know?
And stay away from Vicky.
Stay away from Vicky, yeah. Otherwise, your whole life will be destroyed.
And now the next case.
All parties on Shaw versus Reed. Step forward.
46-year-old computer engineer John Shaw is suing his ex-wife, 43-year-old contract administrator Arnesta Reed, for using his credit card after their divorce.
Mr. Shaw, you and the defendant had been married and divorced.
That's correct.
How long had you been married?
Approximately 2 years.
Your complaint is that after the divorce, when all property had been resolved, your former wife took a credit card, or had a credit card still in her possession, that you were responsible for, and she went out and charged a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Leaving you with a bill of how much, sir?
The bill was originally $1,629.68, but since that time, with interest accrual, it's $1,945 now.
So you didn't pay this off?
No, what happened was, when I received this bill, I thought someone had stolen my credit card, but it was still in my possession. So what I did, I happened to call Service Merchandise and asked them, these charges that this merchandise that I'm being charged for, I didn't do this. So they said, well, someone did. And if your credit card wasn't stolen, you're responsible for it. So I asked them to conduct an investigation. And it took them about approximately a month. And they found out that my ex-wife, she made the purchases.
Okay.
Okay, at that time, I consulted an attorney on my own. And he gave me two options. He said, we can prosecute her in criminal court for fraud, or either I can write her a letter and have her respond to it and ask her to make the payments. I told him I think he should do that because I have no malice against her. And he contacted her, and the next day, she called him, the attorney, and told him that she would make payments. She made one payment of $252. After that, she stopped payment.
All right. Now, according to your answer, Miss Reed, A, you bought some jewelry because you thought that he took a piece of jewelry of yours, so you wanted to replace that with a nice piece of jewelry. And then you say...
I was also replacing a TV and 2 VCRs, and I have the bill
Just a second. You said you were replacing a TV and 2 VCRs because he gave you permission to do that.
Right.
Tell me about that.
He called me at work, Your Honor, months after we were divorced, and he was saying that he was sorry that all these things, bad things have been happening to him. And he felt like the reason they were happening to him is because of what he did to me. That's when he admitted that he broke my TV, 2 VCRs. And he told me, at the time, I forgot I even had the service merchandise. He mentioned to me that I still had the service merchandise account and the bill would be mailed to his address.
Did you have that conversation with her?
It's the first time I've heard that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
There aren't very many people I know after their divorce, after a couple of months, where they would call up and say, go out, you have this service merchandise card, take it out, use it, and send me the bill. Just doesn't sound logical. But take it one step further. After he got this bill, he called you, then he called an attorney. Right. And the attorney said, we have 2 ways to go. We can either prosecute her, or we can write her a letter and say, you better take over these bills, because otherwise I'm going to have to seek my legal remedies. So he chose to do a gentlemanly thing and do the second. You made a payment of $252 in order to get the attorney off your back, which leads credence to his statement that you did not have permission to use his credit card. You were divorced. He didn't give you permission. You owe him $1,945. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm glad it's over with. I have no malice against my ex-wife. I wish her well. I just want her to let her know that she can't continually try to get away with that and other things that occurred in our marriage, but it's over, and I hope she learned from it.
Maureen DeMiguel claims her ex-husband, 32-year-old plumber Louis DeMiguel, kept their house in exchange for $17,000 due on selling the house. He lost the house to foreclosure. She wants her money.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 521 on the calendar in the matter of DeMiguel versus DeMiguel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
You 2 folks were married, according to these papers, in 1992 and divorced 3 years later in 1995. So far, is that correct?
No, it's not.
When were you married?
We were married in '89, and we divorced in '92.
In 92. Okay, so it was a 3-year marriage that ended in 1992. And according to your complaint, as part of the judgment of divorce, you got the house, correct?
I got the house. That would be correct.
And in exchange for giving him the house, you got a note, a promissory note, for $17,000.
Correct.
Which became due on the sale of the house. Is that right?
The original court order stated to pay her out of the proceeds of the home.
Of the sale.
Of the sale.
We don't shout out here. You were supposed to pay her out, and the outside date for the payment of the $17,000 note was when the house was sold. Does that sound right to you? Why are you fighting with me, sir? I mean, you know, this is not what is. This is, this is easy. You were supposed to pay her back $17,000 and the outside date of the payment of that loan when the house was sold. Is that right? Just say yes.
Yes.
Good. Now, you lived in the house, correct?
Off and on.
And then allowed the house to go into foreclosure.
I wouldn't say allowed it. I tried every means possible to keep the house. It's because of some of her actions.
Just a second. Because of some of her actions that you lost the house.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to be talking about the fact that you fell behind in your child support payments. How many children do you have?
I have 4.
We have 1 together.
You have 1 together. And you were under a child support order. and you fell behind in your child support payments. So according
Along
to...
with house payments and everything else also.
I don't care about anything else. I only care about child support payments. So you fell behind in your child support payments, and according to your answer, you gave her the following choice. You said, I can't complete my bankruptcy until I clear up this child support, because they won't let me proceed with my bankruptcy with this outstanding child support arrearage. Is that right?
That is correct.
So you said to her, if you forego the back child support and cancel it,
I did not say
then
forgo.
Then I can proceed with this. You said, well, I didn't have the money, and I told Maureen, that's you, that either she could waive back child support so I could finish the Chapter 13, or recover the loan from Guild Mortgage Company to save her equity in the property. That's what you said.
Yes, she could have recovered the loan. She had a third on it, a lien on the property.
So you gave her that choice. You said, if you're willing to waive what I owe you for child support.
Well, the waive in what you're reading was that to waive it for the bankruptcy court.
What does that mean?
In other words, stating that I would give her some type of a note or whatever that she'll get her back child support so that the bankruptcy could go
So
through.
you wanted her to commit a fraud.
I don't know if that's a fraud or not.
Oh, sure it is. If you're saying to the bankruptcy court, I'm waiving child support, and you want to make this side deal with her that, well, even though you're telling the court that I'm going to waive it, I'll actually pay you or pay you something on it later, then you're asking her to be a participant in the fraud in the federal court. So she didn't want to do that. Correct?
Okay.
So, I don't need you.
I
don't need you. No, I don't need you yet.
Well,
if I need you, I'll tell you. Sit down. And if you don't sit down, put him out.
Pardon?
You have a choice. You can sit down, or I can put you out. That's your choice. Step out.
Then let's go.
Step out. Thank you.
Let's go.
If you want to hear the
Sir,
testimony,
step out.
listen.
Step out, sir.
If you don't want to offer...
Sir, step out.
If you
just put him out, please, Bird.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir,
I'm
sir, I want to get some factual things down here, and I don't need any
Factual
witnesses
is-
yet. So far, we understand each other. She had the note. You had a problem with the bankruptcy court. You couldn't get your bankruptcy through, so your defense to this action, at least partial defense, is that because of her actions, you could not proceed with your Chapter 13, and therefore, you lost the house.
That is what one thing that happened. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what you say in your answer.
Okay.
Now, the house was foreclosed. Is that right?
Correct.
And therefore, you did not get any part of your $17,000.
Correct.
And you understand that the limit of my jurisdiction here is $5,000. Is that correct? So my first question to you is, why did you choose the small claims court where you could only recoup $5,000 of what it is alleged that he owes you, as opposed to proceeding in civil court, in the Supreme Court, where you could perhaps recoup $17,000?
Your Honor, it's been my experience in the courts through our divorce and I can't even get child support out of the man. So
That's not
I
true
felt
whatsoever.
So I felt like there's no way I'm going to get $17,000. He doesn't have a bank account in his name. He doesn't have property in his name. It was more a principle than the money. I know I'm never going to get a penny out of him.
All right.
So.
Okay. Now, it was my own curiosity. I didn't understand why you were proceeding here. Yes.
As far as what she just stated is very untrue. You can ask my witness.
I'm asking you.
I'm telling you. They garnish my check every week.
For child support?
Yes. Everybody.
How much do they take out every week?
They take half of my paycheck every week.
They take half?
Yes, ma'am.
For how many children?
For 4.
We're not, well, they can
Anyway.
take half your paycheck for 4 children. They can't take half your paycheck under federal guidelines for 1 child. So that only part of that goes to her.
She gets a part.
For the 1 child, they garnish your salary, I assume,
Correct.
because you hadn't been making voluntarily the regular child support payments.
Well, yes. I was in business and just
And
everything
didn't
fell
pay it,
out of the
because
market.
otherwise they don't
But
garnish your salary.
What's interesting is when I went into bankruptcy, that's where there's a lot more to this than Maureen is stating. She walked away scot-free. She never brought anything into our marriage. I had $60,000 out of pocket. My parents let me...
Mr. Demigao, let me stop you right there for a moment, sir. I don't go beyond the divorce because you already went through your divorce proceedings. Who brought what into the... Just listen to me. I'm speaking. Who brought what into the marriage, what bills were whose during the course of the marriage. That was all resolved by another judge at another time. This action has to do with one thing. You got the house. She got the note. She said you didn't pay the note. You say you didn't pay the note because the house went into foreclosure and you lost it. Is that simple?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
So your parents bought the house from the bank and they sold it in April.
Yes, at a loss.
I don't care if it was a loss or not.
And later today.
I do not owe her anything, ma'am.
That's what you say. You say that you were hoping to spend the rest of your life with this lady and really thought that what was hers was yours and what yours was yours.
That's correct.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maureen DeMiguel is suing her ex-husband, Louis DeMiguel, for money she lost after he lost their house to foreclosure.
Okay, so I only have one question, Ms. DeMiguel. The house went into foreclosure. Who purchased the house?
Well, his parents purchased the house from the bank.
From the bank after it went into foreclosure?
Yes.
Show me.
Can I...
Say nothing yet. I will let you explain after I look at the papers.
This is an area that I'd like my witness to be here.
Just a second.
This shows a grant deed, his parents selling the house to the next purchaser.
Okay. Did your parents, in fact, purchase the house from the bank, which this document seems to indicate? This is a grant deed.
At that time, I was severely under financial hardships. My brother had a power of attorney to try to save that property for myself and my parents' interest because they'd lent me money to build that home. And that's why Frank is here today, because he knows about everything that had to do with the sale of that property. How it went, he has all the paperwork here, everything you need.
Are you telling me, sir, that you don't know whether your parents bought the house from the bank?
I'm not sure in which order it went, so I'm not going to
Fine, would you bring in the brother, please?
Anything?
Bring in the brother, please. Not sure how what order it went in. I'll find out what order it went in.
Your Honor, I have all the deeds that show the order of purchasing.
As soon as the court officer gets back, we'll get it.
And if I may, at the time of our divorce, the amount that they thought the property was worth was speculated.
Sir, that's not relevant.
Okay.
It's not relevant. The only thing that's relevant is, at this moment, the questions that I have, which you say you cannot answer, but your witness, who is your brother, can answer.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Step up here, sir. I have some questions for you. Would you state your name, please?
Frank DeMiguel.
Mr. DeMiguel, your brother seems to be unable to answer the following questions. So I'm going to ask you questions, and I'd like you to respond to those questions and those questions only, since he says that you have the answers to those questions.
I hope so.
The house in question here went into foreclosure. That is conceded by all parties. The house was, in fact, purchased by your parents from the bank. Is that correct?
My parents bought the house from the bank after the foreclosure was complete.
Fine. So that's what we want to know. Your parents did buy the house, but he wasn't sure of the order of things. And do your parents still own the house?
No.
Do you know on what date your parents bought the house from the bank?
They bought the bank after the foreclosure.
What date?
Was complete. It's probably in this title search.
Your Honor, if I may, it was March 7th of '97.
Well, let me take a look at what you have.
Give her that, too.
Okay.
Here's the actual grant deed when his parents bought it from the bank.
Okay. So your parents bought the house from the bank after the foreclosure in March of 1997. And they sold it in April of 1997, a month later, according to these papers. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, at a loss.
I don't care if it was a loss or not.
Your Honor, they bought it for 140 and they sold it for 181.
181 is what they sold it for.
I think you forget that you owed my parents, you and Louis, when you were married, you owed them in excess of $35,000.
Judge Judy will continue. And later today.
Do you have a symbolic marriage with anybody in another town?
No, ma'am.
Right.
Ma'am, that is your opinion.
My opinion, sir, is the only one that counts.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Maureen DeMiguel is suing her ex-husband, Louis DeMiguel, for the money she lost after their house was foreclosed.
Did the judgment of divorce, Mr. DeMiguel, which I assume you have, order the plaintiff to reimburse you or your parents in the amount of $35,000?
No.
Well, if it did not, I do not go beyond that. So if what you're telling me is, which I gather that you're telling me, that you and your family decided that the debts that were accrued or the money that you put in amounted to $70,000, $35,000 was her share, and you decided that, but that was never either reduced to a judgment by the court, brought up in the divorce proceedings, or rejected by the court in divorce proceedings. What I'm faced with now is a sale that was a $41,000 gain by your parents practically immediately after the foreclosure, and a sale within 1 month to other parties, which showed that from the purchase price, they bought it from the bank for $140,000. They sold it to these good people a month later for $181,000. Judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
You're a good mother to my child.
Well, we're friends now. I mean, we have to be until the child's 18.
The paper said that she was to get paid from the proceeds of the sale of the property. The property never sold. It was foreclosed. It was a total loss. And yet she still gains.
Well, I'm glad that justice finally prevailed. You know, he's tried to pull a lot of fast ones over the years, and he's gotten away with a lot of stuff. So I'm glad that this time we got a fair shake in the courtroom.
And now the next case.
Parties on Ward versus Faulkner. Step forward, please.
51-year-old postal clerk Audrey Ward is suing her ex-fiancé, 42-year-old contractor Donald Faulkner, for a loan to start a business and go on vacation. He says it was all a gift.
All right, Miss Ward, according to your complaint, after a very short time of knowing this gentleman, you lent him a lot of money.
Yes, I did.
You cashed in a CD and gave him $3,500 for a business that he wanted to go into.
Is that right? Correct.
And then you took a vacation with him with the agreement that you would share expenses, only you just put it on your credit card.
Correct.
And all that totals $4,350.
$4,356, correct.
And according to you, he paid you back about $2,100, and he owes you $2,256.
He's paid me back a total of $2,300.
$2,300.
Correct. $2,056 is the balance.
I disagree with that balance, Honor.
Well, you say that you don't owe her anything.
I do not owe her anything, ma'am.
That's what you say. You say that you were hoping to spend the rest of your life with this lady and really thought that what was hers was yours and what yours was yours.
That's correct.
All right.
I disagree with that, Your Honor.
Did she give you $3,500 to go into business?
She gave me $3,500 as a friend.
As
Yes,
a friend.
ma'am, she
Just
did.
put your hand down. Put your hand down. How long did you know her before you asked her for $3,500?
7 years.
Mm-hmm. So she was a good friend.
She was a good friend, sure.
And had she ever given you money before?
No, ma'am.
So
Only on business transactions.
What do you mean only on business transactions?
I am a contractor. I've worked for her before.
Okay, but this was, you had entered into a social relationship with her at this time.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Right, and that lasted for 10 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you took a vacation together and she put it all on her credit card.
We had a symbolic marriage in 5 months,
What's a symbolic marriage?
A symbolic marriage is without going through the court of laws and going to put it on record.
And you know what that you went through? You went through bupkis. Okay?
Okay.
You went through nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. You did nothing.
So both of us thought
You
that.
did absolutely nothing.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Okay, how much money did you give her over these course of 10 months?
Course of 10 months, I felt like I didn't really have to give her any money, but I did give her the $2,200.
Right. And what did you give her the money for?
Because I felt guilty because the way that she was taking care of her family, I think that the way that I felt that we were together, that what money I gave her, she wasn't asking back, or I wasn't asking back, and the money that she gave me, it would have balanced out.
Were you living together with her?
On and off, yes, ma'am.
What do you mean on and off?
On
After
and off,
your symbolic marriage.
I would visit 3 days a week because my business was in another town.
Do you have a symbolic marriage with anybody in another town?
No, ma'am.
Right.
Ma'am, that is your opinion.
My opinion, sir, is the only one that counts. You owe her $2,056. Pay her.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm glad it's over.
I agree with Mr. Faulkner. I'm glad it's over.
I thought that when two people are together, I think that you shouldn't have to ask money back. We were under a symbolic marriage, and basically, there's no terms, there's no receipts keeping.
I have a receipt that shows he owes a balance of $2,000. I have a recording here that is his voice that says he owed me the money and he was going to pay me.
I didn't feel that was a loan.
Well, if you think you're right, stick it through and stay with it.
Stay out of symbolic marriages.
"20-year-old Arzo Anwar broke his camera during a scuffle. Arzo claims Steve hit her car and he went out of control.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 583 on the calendar in the matter of Shackelford versus Anwar.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
All right, let me try to get the picture of this. Mr. Shackelford, you and your wife were in your truck. What kind of a truck is this?
This is a Ford pickup truck.
And you were approaching a place where you pay a toll?
Correct.
And you sort of got yourself on the wrong line.
Actually, the lane opened next to me, and I wished to move over there as there were other cars in front of us.
So you got yourself on the wrong line because
Correct.
it was a longer line and you wanted to get into another line, right?
Correct.
So in order to do that, you backed up your car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you hit her car.
By accident, yes.
Well, it wasn't on purpose. It was just that you didn't want to wait an extra 2 seconds to pay the toll. You wanted to go to a free line, right?
Correct.
And you damaged her car.
Yes.
And you sued him.
Yeah, I did.
And you were awarded damages to your car.
Right, his insurance company did pay for my damages.
So now you're suing her because you say that she broke your camera
Yes, ma'am.
during some sort of an altercation that you had. So why don't you tell me exactly what happened, Mr. Shackelford?
I backed into her car, and by...
Well, then you weren't looking properly if you backed into her car. She's just standing there waiting to pay the
It's a
toll.
large truck, Your Honor, and her car did not appear in my mirror, so
That's
I
not her
did
car's
not see
fault.
it.
That's your truck's fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you hit her car.
Yes.
And then I assume you had to pull over and sort of exchange information.
Well, what happened was the first words out of her mouth when I heard her horn honk, she rolled down her window, lots of expletives out of her, very unwarranted. I didn't understand why she was reacting so violently. People have accidents, and we make the best of them and proceed. As I listened to her, she said, "Hurry up, please leave. I don't have time for this. Just get out of my way, pay your toll, and go." I paid my fare, and as I was waiting for change, Ms. Anwar approached on the passenger side of the truck. She knocked on the window and says, "No, there's damage to my car. You need to pull over." So I said, "Fine." I pulled over to the side, and then she came up and jumped out of her car and continued with the abusive manner and
Well, just
abusive
tell me
language.
what she said, sir.
It was cussing words.
That's all right. I've heard everything. I've heard
Well,
everything.
well, basically, as she rolled down her window, she said, you know, "You hit my car, you mother." And I think that was absolutely unwarranted. I mean, obviously, when an accident happens, you deal with people in a respectful manner, and you do your best to get things correct. So I pulled over and waited on her. She became very abusive again.
No, just tell me what she said. Don't tell
She
me
gets
abusive.
Okay, she gets out of her car. She's got a lot of attitude, and she says, "I want you to give me your information now." And I said, "Okay, tell you what, I want to go ahead and document this because she was so abusive. I didn't know, what she might do. I decided I would take the camera and put it together and get pictures of the damage."
You had to get the camera out.
Oh, the camera was in my truck.
And then you have to put it together, you said.
Well, it was just a matter of pulling this out and putting the flash unit on it.
Okay, so you had to put it together. And then you were going to take photographs of her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So as I took photographs, she continued to be abusive.
No, she wasn't abusive. Tell me what she said, sir. You say
okay.
abusive. You tell me what she said.
She continued to hover over me as I was taking these photographs, saying, "I want this information now. I'm in a hurry. I have to get going. Get yourself moving." It was very abusive. I'm sorry.
Well, that's not abusive, sir. Your truck caused damage because you were in a major hurry. Because not only did you back up, but you backed up, and you know that your truck is a big truck. What kind of car were you driving?
Jetta, Volkswagen.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not a little tiny car. It's a Volkswagen Jetta, which is a reasonable-sized car. You didn't see her. You hit her. That's not her fault. She didn't hit you, right? She's angry. She may have been in a hurry to get someplace, and you decide to go in your truck, take out your camera, put it together, and take pictures rather than say to your wife, "Why don't you get her the information she needs and I will take the pictures of the car." You said to her, "When I'm good and ready, I'll give you my information. Meanwhile, I'm going to take pictures of your car to make sure that you don't try to scam anybody." Well, so I can understand why she's irritated. I would be irritated too. I might not have used all the expletives you attribute to her, but I probably would have thought a couple of them.
Well, the fact was, Your Honor, is that she was complaining of being in such a hurry that had I not been able to accurately document what had happened to her car, I don't know that I would have been able to. That's why I said, as soon as I have completed taking
I
these
never heard of
photos-
anybody taking photographs of damage in an accident. I mean, I never heard of that. That's not standard operating procedure. You have an accident like you did, you exchange information, and you turn it over to your insurance company. So I can understand why she's irritated, sir. So now tell me what happened. Tell me how she broke your camera.
So at this point, my wife was still in the truck. She had not come out of the truck. She heard her loud arguing, and she got out of the truck, and she says, "What the hell's your problem?" And at that point, she became even more agitated. Now, when she became agitated, my wife responded in kind. Now, I stepped between the two ladies in order to prevent physical contact.
They were yelling at each other.
Yes, they were.
Go ahead.
And they were moving closer. So actually, Ms. Anwar was moving closer. My wife was staying where she was. So I went ahead and moved over in front of Ms. Anwar to prevent her from coming any closer. She was about 3 feet. May I show you?
No.
May I? Okay, well,
Just tell me. I'm following you.
She was about 3 feet in front of me. My wife was about 6 feet behind and to my right. As Ms. Anwar was yelling at her, she approached closer to me. I was holding my camera in my body like this with a flash unit coming out like this. At this point, Ms. Anwar decided that she wanted to step up to a more physical level. She lunged forward into me and trapped the camera between us, breaking the flash unit downward like this, breaking the mount off the flash unit and bending the hot shoe mount.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Here you have two people sitting in their truck and saying, "I don't know what this crazy lady's talking about. I didn't hit her car." Well, she knows. She's been blowing her horn because you're backing up. And you people are off in La La Land someplace and don't hear her.
And later today,
Where is the drum set?
I have it.
Good. Who's paying for it?
I am.
What?
I know. I know.
Foundation that looks great and feels soft when you put it on is no surprise. But what if I told you I put my foundation on this morning? Introducing All Day Moisture Foundation from Oil of Olay. Tests prove its combination of base, long-lasting color, and moisturizers reveal that it continuously moisturizes, helping your skin look natural and feel soft all day. And the name? New All-Day Moisture Foundation from Oil of Olay. We can prove long-lasting color can care.
How geologist Ted Barton eats a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
First, I take a core sample. Next, I examine the strata. And then I digest the findings.
Chocolate, peanut butter, and a cookie. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
Life, sometimes it's just a matter of perspective. So try Movana, the advanced St. John's wort supplement rich in hyperforin to help stay positive about life. Safe, natural Movana helps keep life in perspective.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Shackelford is suing Arzo Anwar, claiming she broke his camera as he took pictures of a fender bender.
Okay, Miss Anwar, start from the beginning.
Okay, well, he was backing out because he did want to change his lanes. I kept honking and he wasn't hearing anything. So I opened up my window and I started yelling, and I did say, yes, you were hitting my car, and he still didn't hear me. So I got out of the car, went and checked to see if there was damages. There was damages, so I went and sat in my car to wait and see if he was going to come out or not. He's like, what do you want? What do you want? I said, you just hit my car. So we're moving up through the toll booth, and I went up to him and I knocked on his passenger's window and I said, you hit my car, are you going to come out or what? And basically he was like, oh, I'll pull over after I pay. And his wife basically, was like yelling in the car also. There's two of them against me. Ran back in the car and we pull off to the side, and I come out, and he's like, I'm going to take pictures of this, so you're going to have to wait. I basically said, I don't have time for this. You just hit me. I need to go, so can I have the information? And we basically got into a little dispute, and his wife comes out of the car. His wife comes out of the car, and she said, what the hell is your problem? And we all got into it, and she was swearing. She was saying racial slurs. And that's when I got really, really upset. When
What did she say to you?
She called me and I don't know where that came from, but she was getting really bad at it. And he was in the middle of us because she was saying she was going to come and kick my, excuse me. So I basically told her, okay, come on, you want to get into a physical fight? Let's go do it. And he's in the middle of us, and we basically just sandwiched him in the middle. And then his camera broke. After his camera broke, he got really, really and said that I broke his camera, and he comes up in my face really, really closely and starts pushing me away by yelling at me. Says, you, and this and that, and I started running backwards. I got really scared. I ran back up to the toll booth, and I told them to call the cops because they were yelling at me, they were swearing at me. Came back, and I sat in my car until the cops came because I was basically very scared of both of them. I mean, they were crazed lunatics that day, and I really didn't know what else to do but to sit in my car until the cops did come.
Okay. Ms. Shackelford, do you want to step up here? Why didn't you just get the license and registration and give it to Miss Anwar while your husband was taking these photographs?
Well, at first I was just sitting in the car, in the truck. He didn't tell me I didn't get out. He didn't say get out. He just said sit there to be a few minutes. I'm going to take some pictures. But I just heard her in my husband's face yelling and
Where was the
screaming.
license and registration that you needed in your insurance form?
That was in my glove box.
Well, when you got out of the car, did you take that out with you?
Mm-mm.
At this point in time, Your Honor, number one.
Oh, just answer don't tell me number one. I said to you when you got out of the car, she needed your information. Why didn't you just say, here is my information, copy it down. I just want to take some pictures of you, a picture of your car, while you're copying it down. That way you're not going to lose any time.
Yeah, she had already started, established precedence in this manner of how she was behaving and towards being extremely aggressive.
So she was aggressive. Sir, you just hit her car.
And at that point, I had to determine what damage had occurred and whether I was responsible, because honestly, I did not feel my truck.
You're still going to have to give her your registration, your insurance, and your license,
yes,
irrespective of whether you look at the car and think there's damage or not. So why didn't you just do that first instead of further exacerbating the situation?
Ma'am, I
because
didn't know
clearly
that I had her car at that point.
You had hit the car.
I didn't know that because we did not feel any contact at that point. We heard her cussing, but we did not hear any contact or feel any contact. We heard her honk her horn
Is
once.
there any question in your mind now that you hit her car?
At this point, after the fact, no.
Fine. She knew that you hit her car, so here you have two people sitting in their truck and saying, I don't know what this crazy lady's talking about. I didn't hit her car. I got this big truck, and I don't feel a thing. Well, she knows. She's been blowing her horn because you're backing up, and she sees your truck backing up into her. She's honking her horn, and you people are off in la-la land someplace and don't hear her. And I can understand, sir, being very aggravated and then getting somebody who says, now, I'm not going to give you my license and registration until after I take a picture or two. And I have to go in my car and take out my camera box and then put the two pieces together, and then I'm going to take a picture, and then when I'm good and ready, I'll give you the information you need. You were wrong. You were clearly in the wrong.
For hitting her car, correct.
For not hitting her car, but hitting her car the way you did. Sometimes you have an accident, and there is no way that you can prevent that kind of an accident. But in your case, you were going the wrong way in a toll plaza. That's not an accident. That's as close to an on purpose as you can get.
Judge Judy will continue. And later today.
What kind of a computer did you purchase after you damaged the old one, sir? Look at me right in the eye. You think you're going to put one over on me? You're crazy.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by...
Take a bite of Croissant Pockets chicken, broccoli, and cheddar. Discover white meat chicken, broccoli, real cheese, and a crispy, flaky croissant crust.
What are you gonna pick?
Croissant Pockets.
Gina Hopkins, who just won $1 million using 10-10-3-4-5, doesn't need any help remembering our number. To help you, here are her third, fourth, and fifth long-lost relatives who've surfaced since she's won. Dial 10-10-3-4-5 and you might win $1 million.
This year, I'm showing off my legs.
Introducing Celicine, the safe natural supplement clinically studied to help reduce cellulite. Look and feel terrific with smoother, more attractive legs. Celicine, the one that works.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Shackelford says Arzo Anwar broke his camera during a scuffle over a fender bender.
I think you and your wife caused part of the damage to that camera.
Ma'am, my wife was 6 feet behind me and to my right.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because I don't believe that your wife would have gotten out of the car to stay 6 feet behind you.
No,
what do you think about that? I don't believe that she was 6 feet behind you. If she didn't want to get into the fray of this, sir, it's not common sense that she would have gotten out of the car and stayed 6 feet away. It's common sense that if she wanted to get into the mix and she and Miss Anwar were battling it out with their words, she wasn't staying 6 feet away. And you got in the middle of it in order to prevent according to you, these two ladies from coming to blows. Well, you wouldn't have had to step in there if your wife was 6 feet away from you and another 3 feet, that was Miss Anwar, that's 9 feet away. You didn't have to get in the middle.
Miss Anwar was advancing towards me.
She
was not.
She hit him. Why didn't you give her the information on the car and say, while your cop... Excuse me? Excuse me?
I'm sorry.
Did you call her any names that day?
No.
And what'd you get out of it?
I called her. No one yells at my husband the way she does except for me. Okay?
So you got out of the car and
I don't like that.
Just a second. So you got out of the car and you were angry.
I was
just angry. Well, that's how your camera got broken. Your lawsuit's dismissed.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
If she had remained cool and calm throughout it, we would have been able to resolve it with no problem.
Fine.
I'm just glad it turned out the way it did, because that's basically what happened. Judge Judy understood the situation very well, and I thank her.
Take care.
Thanks, Steve.
And now the next case.
All parties on Yoakum versus Couts. Step forward, please.
26-year-old student Monique Yoakum claims ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old event planner Rusty Couts, took her computer. Rusty says he's the one who made the payments.
Miss Yoakum, how long of a relationship did you have with the defendant?
6 years.
You have a child?
Yes.
How old is your child?
He'll be 6 in June.
According to your complaint, he took a computer from your house.
Yes.
So you purchased this together, is that right?
No, that's not true. I purchased it for myself because I go to college, I'm studying to be a social worker, and it was my only way of, my easiest access of writing my papers.
Well, Mr. Couts, you say that you did in fact take the computer.
Yes, I did.
And you took it from her home.
Where I lived at the time.
That's not true.
That is true. I lived there from May of '98 through August of '98. 4 months I lived there.
He had his own apartment at the time.
Well, was he staying with you?
He was, yeah, he stayed quite a bit with me because, you know, we have a son together. And at this point, things were going well with us, and he was being responsible, and we were looking for a house together. We was thinking about getting married. So we did spend a lot of time with each other at that time.
All right, so for about 3 months, you did live together.
Yes.
Now, your defense to this action is that you paid for this computer.
I helped pay for the computer.
How did you help pay for it?
By giving her cash money that we had pooled at the time that I was living with her 7 days a week, not just part-time.
Okay, so let's say you were living there. Now, how much money were you giving her?
I was giving her every bit of money that I made in cash form.
How much were you making?
$300 a week, so yeah, about $300 a week I was giving her to pay
Gross
all
or
bills.
net?
That would be gross.
Give me a net figure. Gross is not what you give her.
Okay, $250 a week.
That looks like a quick made-up number.
Well, that's very accurate, I believe.
You think so?
Yeah.
How much was he giving you?
None. We have a son together, and he has not helped me with his care, and he has not given me any money.
He didn't give you any money?
No.
The 3.5 months
No.
he was living there?
That's a lie.
That's not, no, he did not.
Okay. Even if you say you were giving her money, what makes you think that anything that you were giving her was going towards this computer?
It's the agreement that we had. Everything that we purchased together, everything that we had was ours under our agreement.
What else did you purchase together other than this computer, sir?
Well, prior to that, we had purchased a television, which she still has. We had purchased...
Prior to that, when?
Well, a lot prior, 5 years prior.
I'm not, don't go back to the year Gimmel,
Okay.
sir. Just
a month
tell me.
prior, we had purchased a drum set for me, which is not in this lawsuit, which was purchased on her credit card.
Just a second. A drum set. Where is the drum set?
I have it.
Good. Who's paying for it?
I am.
What?
I know. I know. But I thought
Just a second. It's getting better.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
All right, so we have a drum set and a computer that you purchased together.
Yes.
Now let's figure this out. Jointly purchased drum set. He has it.
He has it.
She's paying for it.
She's paying for it.
Jointly purchased computer.
He has it.
It's on your credit card.
Yes, it is.
He's paying for it.
Within 5 days, in perfect condition, the computer is to be returned to her. Do you understand? No!
There is no property. There's no computer anymore. The computer.
Where is it?
It was damaged and it was sold, and I've purchased a new computer.
Good. Then within 5 days from today, she gets the new computer. If it was damaged, you damaged it. Then she gets the new computer. She needs it for school. And you can sit there and contemplate what happened today on your drum set. Because you can't have the drum set and the computer that she's paying for. You got it? 5 days, she gets the new computer. What kind of a computer is it?
The computer that I purchased, the computer that we purchased that was ours.
What kind of a computer did you purchase after you damaged the old one, sir? Look at me right in the eye. You think you're going to put one over on me? You're crazy. What kind of computer did you purchase?
I purchased a compact.
Good. That's what she's getting, a nice compact computer. You'll love it. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, no letting go.
You had him put in jail according to you because he violated you. Then you sent him nude pictures of yourself. What are you, Coco? Jay, whiz.
Judge Judy Justice.
This is George Kennedy. I take Can Do every day to restore healthy joints. Can Do. And so can you.
Inventors, Invention Submission Corporation can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. Call 1-800-288-IDEA for free information.
Look as my ugly bags and wrinkles disappear instantly. Only Sudden Change Under Eye does it. No other product gives you these results instantly. Sudden Change, the instant wrinkle smoother.
It's Jennifer Convertible's 8-piece living room for just $6.99. A sofa bed, 2 garden chairs, 3 tables, and 2 lamps.
Jennifer Convertibles, America's largest sofa bed specialist.
She's the mother of my son, and that's great. Other than that, I don't have any other feelings.
He's just the father of my son, and hopefully we can work through that, but other than that, there is no other feelings.
railroad engineer, Leroy Keller, assaulted him over a parked car that blocked his. Leroy is countersuing for his 30-day job suspension and attorney fees.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 697 on the calendar in the matter of Cherry versus Keller. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
You both work for the railroad, is that right?
That's correct.
And you had this big brouhaha over parked cars. Foolish, right? Foolish. So, Mr. Cherry, why don't you start from the beginning and tell me why you believe Mr. Keller owes you all this money? $3,000 with a counterclaim for another $3,000.
On July the 18th, we have a mail contract to work for the railroad. I was up in the mail car, attending to my duties when Mr. Keller approached me. He was very upset that he couldn't get out from where I was parked.
He couldn't get out?
He couldn't get out of his
parking space because of your car?
Because of where I was parked.
Okay.
Mr. Keller approached me, and his exact words to me were, "Give me your keys, or I'll bust your windows out and ram your car." I turned to the person I was working with at the time, and I told him, well, let me go down and move my car out of his way. As I went to get down out of the car, as soon as I touched the ground, Mr. Keller ran over to me and went to grab me in my chest. I pushed his hands off of me, and I told him not to touch me again and that I would be back. You know, I told the people I was working with I would be back. Let me go and move my car. All the way up the platform over to the garage, Mr. Keller's making shoulder contact with me. He's bumping me, telling me, who do you think you are? You have no reason to block me in, and you knew this was my car. I had no idea whose car it was. It was an area where all the employees park. If it happens to where we block each other in, we simply just come and ask to move. Once we got out to the garage, I went to open my door, to let him out. He had went over to his car. Before I could get the key good out of my door, he rushed over to me and pushed me to the side of my car. At that point, I didn't know what he was going to do. He had been to his car. He was back over there. He had pushed me for the second time. I went to my trunk. I actually ran to my trunk, opened my trunk, and removed a baseball bat. By the time I came from the rear of my car, Mr. Keller was on his way back to his car. He started revving his engine. He started moving his car forward like he was going to ram my car. And by the time I backed up enough for him to get out, he actually did make contact, but it didn't cause any damage at that point. He left the garage. I immediately picked up the phone and called 911. As I'm on the phone with the 911 operator, Mr. Keller enters the garage again from the other direction. He gets out of his car and approaches me, reaching for my phone. I have pictures of the damage that was done to my car.
Well, I thought you said there was no damage done to your car.
The damage that happened to my car was a result of him shoving me to the side. When he shoved me to the side, it was this elbow, I guess, that caused the damage.
When did he shove you to the side?
When I went to take my key out of my lock, he came rushing over to me at my car and pushed me to the side. He got inside of my car, released my emergency brake, and started pushing my car backwards.
Let me see the alleged damage to your car, sir.
Sure. Those are pictures. I have a light-colored car. It's kind of hard to see it, but I tried to take it from an angle where you could see the indentures.
It's very hard to see.
I also have an estimate, Judge, where
Let me see it.
That particular place was estimated.
Although I'm having difficulty seeing it, clearly the place where you took your car in to be repaired from where you claim that he came over and pushed you, you have a bill for $526.42. Okay, Mr. Keller.
Judge, I would like to show a diagram of the parking lot in the car incident. This shows the train as which this was where Mr. Cherry was located working on the train. I came into work that morning about 7:30 a.m. after being on duty for 14 straight hours with nothing to eat. I went from this location here to my car, which was parked here, and as you can see, Mr. Cherry's car has me pinned in between a concrete wall and two other cars. I walked from this location through this door to the ticket window, and I asked the ticket agent, I said, there's a Mazda 626 parked out here, and I gave him the license plate number. I said, could you make an announcement? I thought maybe there was a passenger waiting to pick up someone that had just parked there and would be there for temporary time. The ticket agent, he said, I know whose car that is. That's Mr. Cherry. He works here. I said, well, could you get a hold of him and have him move the car? I'd like to go home. He went outside to look, and he said Mr. Cherry was way down at the end of the platform here working on the train. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to call the parking lot and find out if there is a policy of double parking here.
But there are a lot of other cars that are double parked.
There was one other car double parked.
Well, I see that. So what did you do, sir?
So I went in and I talked to the security. They said it was a matter that they couldn't handle. So then they suggested calling the police and calling a tow truck. And the tow truck said that he could not tow a car unless he had permission from the police, and the car had to be parked there for 48 hours.
Okay. First you found out the car belonged to Mr. Cherry. So how long did that take? How many minutes?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Okay. And then you were still at that location when you called the tow truck?
Yes.
A tow truck. Did you have to get a number of a tow truck?
Yes, out of the yellow pages.
Okay, so you had to get the yellow pages, look up a tow truck, and call a tow truck. And about how long did that take?
Another 5 minutes.
So that's 15 minutes. Did you call the police?
I spoke to the dispatcher, and they said that there was nothing they could do.
That took another 10 minutes?
No.
How
just
long?
A couple minutes.
Another 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're up to about 20 minutes.
Yes.
Right? And then you decided yourself to walk over to where Mr. Cherry was working.
Yes.
And how long, sir, did it take you to get from the ticket window where you were over to where Mr. Cherry was?
About 3 or 4 minutes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I said, are you crazy? I said, do you realize what you're doing here? He says, look, you're lucky I don't get my gun out of my trunk and kill you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Railroad agent Timothy Cherry is suing railroad engineer Leroy Keller for assault after Timothy blocked his car.
So my first question to you is, sir, instead of calling a tow truck, which took 10 minutes, calling the police, which took another 5 minutes, 15 minutes, why didn't you just take a 3-minute walk over to where he was and say, why don't you move your car?
Mr. Cherry and I have had an interaction before.
What kind of an interaction did you have before?
One evening about 11:30 p.m., I was on my way to work and I was coming into the parking lot. There is a stop sign that's displayed because there's a bad intersection. I stopped at the stop sign. Mr. Cherry drove around me at a high rate of speed to get to his parking spot. And I said to him, I said, did you know there was a stop sign back there? And he said, I'm from St. Louis. We don't stop at stop signs.
So,
with that attitude, I figured there's no sense talking to a gentleman.
So you didn't
like
say anything to him?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So then you walked over there.
Yes.
And what happened when you got over to him?
When I got over to him, I said, do you own a Mazda 626? He said, yes. I said, well, you're blocking me. I said, I'd like for you to move the car.
Is that the way you said it, sir?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes. He said, I'll move it when I get done with my work.
Or middle.
And I said to him, I said, I have been delayed long enough. I would like to go home. I've been up for 14 hours, and I would like to go home. He said, I'll take care of it when I get done with my work. Once again, I suggested to him, I said, just give me your keys. I'll move your car for you, and I'll leave the keys at the ticket window. He threw his gloves down, and he started getting upset, cussing at me, and telling me that he wasn't going to give me his MF keys. He jumped out of this train car, and instead of climbing down the ladder, he tried to jump on top of me. And with my natural reactions of him coming out on top of me, I pushed to keep him away from me. Once he got down on the platform, then he started chest butting me around. And I told him, I said, look, I said, I don't have time for this. I want to go home. So we walked from the train back through the depot. I went through the first door in the depot from the train station, through this door and to my car. Mr. Cherry went back into the baggage room, through the employee's room, and he stayed back there another 5 minutes before he came out of there. I sat in my car waiting for him. When he finally showed up, when he come through this door and he came out here, instead of getting directly in his car and initiating the move directly, he stood by his car with his arms folded and just grinned at me. So when he came over to his car, he put his keys in his door, unlocked his door, opened up his door, got into his car, sat in his car, and looked at me again. Then he got out of his car and he went to the trunk. So I went over to look. I looked inside the car. I noticed it was a manual shift car. I popped it in neutral and I put my shoulder on the doorpost and give it a push back. As I was pushing the car back with my door on the doorpost, when I looked up, Mr. Cherry has a baseball bat and he was taking a swing at me. I said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Do you realize what you're doing here?" He says, "Look, you're lucky I don't get my gun out of my trunk and kill you." And I said, "That's it."
Hey.
I said, "That's it." I got in my car. By that time, I had pushed it back myself. I got in my car. As I was leaving, I looked in my rearview mirror, and yes, he did have his cell phone out, and I figured, he's calling the police. I'm going to be in trouble if I leave the location. I pick up my cell phone in my car. I call the police. The dispatcher says, "Yeah, we have an altercation down at the Amtrak station." I said, "I think I'm involved in that." I said, "Would you like me to return to the location?" "Yes, that would probably be the best thing to do." So I returned to the location. After talking to the police, they tried to resolve the situation, and they talked to us, and they explained to us that either one of us would file charges against each other. We're going to end up in jail that day. The officer told me, he said, "If you go up to him and you just shake his hand and apologize to him and say, 'Let's forget this,' we'll let it go." So I went up to him and I extended my hand, I shook my hand, and the officer said, "Go on, we'll take care of it." So a few days later, about 3 days later, my supervisor calls me and he asks me about this situation. The company decides to hold a formal investigation. Through the formal investigation, the facts were gathered that both of us were at fault.
Responsible.
That's correct.
And they docked you both a month's pay?
They fired us both for 30 days.
Okay. That's your cross complaint. You want the amount of money that you lost for being fired for 30 days. That's what you say here.
What I'm having a problem with is, after 30 days of being disciplined, Mr. Cherry files an assault report with the police. I have to go hire an attorney to represent me in this case. It cost me $700. The prosecuting attorney dropped the case due to lack of evidence on the police report. That wasn't good enough for Mr. Cherry. Now Mr. Cherry is filing a claim against me in small claims court. I feel that, if anything, I'm entitled to the lawyer's fees that I've had to pay for purely out of harassment on Mr. Cherry's part of trying to get even with me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He actually had his hands firmly put on my chest, Judge,
All right,
and I
Mr.
removed
Cherry,
them off of
you're not a wimp, are you? You're not a wimp. You weren't injured. He overreacted.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Railroad agent Timothy Cherry is suing railroad engineer Leroy Keller for assault. Leroy is countersuing for lost wages and attorney fees that resulted from the fight.
Let me tell you, I've heard your side of the story, and I've heard your side of the story. Each of the stories flavored and colored a little bit to suit your own purposes. So let me tell you what I think happened. I think, as far as the parking and blocking his car is concerned, Mr. Cherry, that was absolutely the wrong thing to do. You never know if you block somebody's car, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour, or 2 hours, that say nothing. That there may be an emergency, somebody has to get their car out right away, and it's very irritating, especially when you're at some distance from where you have inconvenienced somebody. So I don't blame him for getting angry. Now, the fact that you had a history before suggests to me, Mr. Keller, that you were not as calm as you present yourself here today. I do not believe that after you spent 15 to 20 minutes trying to get even with him by having his car towed away by the police rather than walking 3 minutes over to where he was working to tell him to move his car, that you were happy with him, that you walked up to him and said, "Could you please move your car? I'd like to get out." That is inconsistent with human nature, and it's inconsistent with male testosterone. It just doesn't happen that way, Mr. Keller. So that he doesn't know what's happening, all of a sudden you come up, you've had a little tiff before, and you start screaming at him to move his car, and probably used a couple of expletives in the process. Then Mr. Cherry gets irritated, and he's going to take a walk back to help you move your car, but he's going to take his sweet time about doing it. So he's sitting in the car, burning and stewing. Now, I absolutely think that he was 100% wrong to go into your car and move it physically. Now, what I want to know from you, Mr. Cherry, is once this was all over, sir, and you had your disciplinary proceeding, and you all went through getting laid off for a month and lost wages over this nonsense, why did you file assault charges against him?
By him grabbing me on my chest, he made threats not only to me, but to my vehicle. When I got to my vehicle, Mr. Keller continued with his threats.
It's a little overreacting, Mr. Cherry.
He actually had his hands firmly put on my chest, Judge,
right,
and
Mr.
I removed
Cherry,
them off of him.
You're not a wimp, are you? You're not a wimp. You weren't injured. He overreacted.
I have
He
sworn testimonies, Your Honor.
overreacted, sir. He overreacted. You know, I'm not going to give him an award or a testimonial dinner for his loud mouth, for his bad attitude, for doing the wrong thing, I think, judgment-wise, about your car. But there comes a point where you have to put a period and say, all right, this is enough. We both suffered from this incident. It was the wrong thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Mr. Keller, I believe, sir, that you overreacted to this situation. You got good and mad. I can imagine that you've seen people in a parking lot waiting to get their car out for 3 minutes, and they get crazy if they want to get out of a parking spot and somebody is blocking them. So, Mr. Cherry, I am giving you the money to fix your car. I think that you both got hot under the collar. Both of you. However, you had out of pocket that you can establish to me to fix your car, and I assume that you're fixing your car, sir? $526. As far as your counterclaim is concerned, Mr. Keller, I believe that in this instance, if I were to indicate that one person was the aggressor, in this case, it would be you. He may have known how to push your buttons, but once your button is pushed, that's your responsibility. And you did certain things that I could tell that somebody who was only very, very angry would do. Take control over somebody else's vehicle because they're not moving fast enough to push it away manually is something that somebody would only do if their testosterone level was up to their eyes. So judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $526. The counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, she laments, says her estranged son-in-law assaulted her. She's asking for lost wages.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 234 on the calendar in the matter of Lamance versus Matthews. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Now, Mr. Matthews, I'm going to start with you, sir. Is that okay? This is your mother-in-law.
Yeah, ex. They're in the process of a divorce with my wife.
She is now your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
You seem to acknowledge both instances of physical battery on your mother-in-law, throwing her across the room, I think is what you said, Mia. You admit you threw her across the room. And you also admit that you damaged her car. Right?
Right.
And you say it's her fault. So I'm anxious to hear that. I'm anxious to hear about that.
Your Honor, at that time, me and my wife were having problems, and she was pretty much going under the verge to where she was going to kick me.
Just a second. You and your wife were having problems slowly.
Right. Okay, sorry. And
you were living with your mother-in-law.
At the time. And
you have children? One child.
One child. And we were having problems, and we're just pretty much to a point where she's going to kick me out.
Who was going to kick you out?
My wife was. But when Roxy ended up finding out about it, she decided to take matters into her own hands and kick me out herself. But in the process, took my son and hid him, because knowing that if she was going to kick me out, I would have took him with me. But she hid him and stated that he wasn't mine and to get out of her house. That is at which time I threw her across the room, yelled at her, where did she take my son? She wouldn't respond, so I went outside and took damage on her car.
Why were you separating from your husband?
Because of his violence and drug use and stuff like that, and just things were not working out. I'd found out he had had an affair.
Violence towards whom?
Towards me.
During the time you were living in your mother's home, did he ever put his hands on you?
We were, well, yes. And we'd only been there for a short time at that point when this all took place.
When you were living at your mother's house, was he using drugs?
Yes, he was.
What kind of drugs?
Crank.
Crack?
Crank.
Crank?
Yes.
What is that?
Amphetamines.
Was he working?
No. He had lost his job. Due to the fact that he robbed a liquor store.
Mr. Matthews, were you working at the time you were living in your mother-in-law's house?
No, I wasn't.
Had you been arrested?
Previously, yes.
For robbery?
Yes.
Were you using amphetamines?
At that time, yes. Penny was too.
Penny is your wife?
Mm-hmm.
And how old is your child?
He's 4 now.
Well, it would seem to me that your mother-in-law did absolutely the right thing by taking your child and hiding him so that when she kicked you out of the house, you wouldn't take him with you.
She had no right to be involved. And it was none of her concern.
I was supporting him. Just a second. Mr. Matthews, let me go over this again with you, sir. You had been arrested for robbery. You were a user of drugs, right? And you were unemployed. And you were living with your mother-in-law because you couldn't afford to have your own house to maintain yourself. So you think that your mother-in-law was doing the wrong thing by trying to protect your 4-year-old son from not only you, but you and maybe even from her own daughter, assuming that what you say is correct, that you were both using drugs. Don't you think that, that was a smart thing to do? It's what I would do with my grandson. I wouldn't let my son-in-law, if he was arrested for robbery, high on drugs, and unemployed, take my 4-year-old grandchild. No way, over my dead body.
Oh, but it didn't matter. Oh.
Over my dead body.
It's not her child. It's not Roxy's child.
So, what you're telling me is you don't want to get down on your knees and thank her for protecting your 4-year-old from his crank, abusing, felon father. You don't want to get down on your knees and thank her.
No.
You assaulted her. Oh, you're going to pay. Now, how much damage did he cause to the car? Let's hear about the car.
I have all the paperwork here.
Just give me a bottom line figure.
I paid $250 was what I paid out.
Was your deductible?
That was my deductible. Plus, I paid $229.35 for a car rental at the time when it was in the shop. And I also lost 4 hours off of work because I couldn't work the next day after he threw me across the room.
When he threw you across the room, where were you injured?
Well, he hit me in the right shoulder, and I landed against the couch, and I bruised my left side, down my left side.
And I do drive a bus, and I load wheelchairs, and I could not bend down and around to strap down wheelchairs during the day, so my dispatcher sent me home.
Well, I don't know where you came up with this figure of $1,077.42 for, which is the amount you're suing him for. Is that right?
Yeah, that's because...
that doesn't include your pain and suffering.
No, I wasn't, because I wasn't trying to get him for anything. I just wanted my money back, is all I wanted. I mean, you know, he's lived with me. I mean, I've practically supported him during the whole 5 years they've been together, you know, and I wasn't out to get him, actually.
You've always been out to get me, even before anything happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You pled guilty to a robbery.
Misdemeanor grand theft.
Is that in California?
Mm-hmm.
Some state.
And later today,
Regina and I were lovers for 4 years.
I had her arrested for domestic violence.
You made her unhappy, stressed for a couple of days. Someone's got to pay for that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Roxy laments wants compensation for lost wages from her estranged son-in-law, Arthur Matthews, after he assaulted her and dented her car.
Mr. Matthews, when was the last time you held a full-time job?
I've had one now for over a year and a half.
What happened with your court case?
Which one?
The robbery case.
They gave me a 30 days work program.
You pled guilty?
Yeah.
To a robbery?
Misdemeanor grand theft.
Did you go into a store and take money? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the guy that was in the store gave me the money. Another guy was involved.
And they let you plead guilty to a misdemeanor?
Yeah.
Is that in California?
Mm-hmm.
To some state? Had you been arrested again?
Yeah.
For what?
For burglary.
Burglary. How many times have you been arrested all told, sir?
About 4 times in the past 10 years, 12 years.
How much time did you spend in jail?
This last time, 5 months.
You have regular visitation with your son?
No, they refuse to let me see him.
Now, Mr. Matthews, you've been in court enough to know that if you want visitation with your child and if you're willing to be drug tested twice a week to make sure
I get drug tested every week. I go to 3 NA meetings. I go to 3 NA meetings a week, and I've been clean for almost a year.
Oh, that's good. So if you can establish that you've been clean, I am certain that a family court judge here in this jurisdiction would start visitation, even if it was just on a supervised basis. But you have to take the initiative with regard to that. It's not that they're not letting you, sir. With your track record, I wouldn't let you be unsupervised with the child at all. In any event, you had absolutely no basis to either assault her or to damage her property, Mr. Matthews. Absolutely none, sir. She was doing the right thing. Any grandmother would do the same thing in her position. You were in no position, financially, or more importantly, physically, as a drug abuser, to have custody, even temporarily, of your son the time you assaulted her. And she did what was necessary to protect her grandson from his own father. Sometimes that's necessary, and you had no justification whatsoever to hurt her. So I'm awarding her the full extent of her complaint, which is $1,077.42. Glad you're working. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right.
She don't deserve the money. I don't care what the judge said. She's been doing drugs as long as I have, and she gets custody. Doesn't matter if I have a record or not.
He's had my phone number for 5 weeks
and he's never called once to set up an appointment to see him, not even once. Well, I don't think he really wants to see him then. If he had wanted to see him, he would have called.
And now the next case.
Parties on. Gaeta versus Alarcon. Step forward, please.
36-year-old Regina Gaeta claims her ex-lover, 28-year-old Erlinda Alarcon, used her ID when she was stopped for a traffic ticket.
Ms. Gaeta, it is your claim that the defendant, who you knew, used your identification when she got a traffic ticket, causing you certain expense and stress, right?
Correct.
She says she didn't do it. How would she come to have your identification?
She used to live with me, and she's done quite a bit to me in the past, living with me, lied to me.
When did she stop living with you?
It's been about 4 years.
And when was this alleged use of your identification?
It was February 1998.
So it was at least 3.5 years after she stopped living with you that you claimed that she used your identification.
Correct.
What proof do you have that she used your identification?
Early February when she came over in the 1986 Dodge Colt blue four-door, as it is on the ticket.
Let me see it, please. Did you confront her with this?
No, Linda Alarcon has a domestic violence past where I had her arrested for domestic violence, so I was afraid to deal with it out of court, so I brought it to court.
Well, because this says she's not in a possession of a license. So they didn't have a piece of paper indicating that they were you, whoever it was that got stopped for this violation. So none of your identification was used, it's just that somebody used your name.
Correct.
I need some more proof.
Linda Alarcon works in Modesto, California, and the ticket was given in Ceres, which is 15 minutes away, which is 7:22 p.m. when she received the ticket.
In December of 1997, were you the owner of a 1996 Dodge Colt automobile?
I no longer had that car, Your Honor.
Did you at any time have?
Yes, I did.
You did? Have that car?
Yes, I did.
When did you have that car?
Just for a few months, probably.
When?
Last year, probably in June, I got the car.
And
it
when
was
did
more
you
trouble than it was worth.
When did you sell the car?
I didn't sell the car, Your Honor. It got stolen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is the driver's license number that's indicated on this notice to appear your driver's license
Correct.
number?
Yes.
That I find compelling.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Regina Gaeta says her ex-lover, Erlinda Alarcon, used her ID to avoid getting a traffic ticket.
Well, how would her name come up in a car that you had had some contact with?
Your Honor, Regina and I were lovers for 4 years. We continue to be friends, you know, all this time. I mean, she's talking that I have a domestic violence with her. I think if she was so afraid of me, why would she continue to hang out with me?
No,
you know?
you're not answering my question. What I'm asking you is, if I follow through with what you're suggesting is the car was stolen, and somebody who stole the car found her name somehow in the car and used it when they got this summons. So what I'm asking you is, after 4 years, what would her name on any kind of a document be doing in that car? Otherwise, some thief would have to know your personal business.
Well, we went places in that car. I mean, we were always together in that car.
When?
Anytime she had a doctor's appointment, if she needed me to drive her somewhere, I would take her in my car.
When? What year?
Last year of '97.
Is that right?
No, it's not correct. She's never taken me to the doctor in that 1986
Had you been
Dodge.
in that car?
Yes, I have.
How many times had you been in that car?
Maybe 2 times.
Did you ever leave anything in that car?
Never. Never left anything in that car. Your Honor, that I recall a couple of months before February, Erlinda Alarcon had one of my bank cards. I needed to get money from the bank, and I didn't have my card. She pulled one out from the glove box that was my old bank card, and I tried to use it, and it had expired. Then I realized she took my bank card, my old one, so I figured she knows my driver's license by heart. I put it all together. My witness here saw Erlinda Alarcon come over the first week of February in the 1986 Dodge Colt.
So that your identification, some form of identification, was in the car. She had some old cards of yours that had expired. Is that right?
Correct.
Which I returned back to her.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. But there were in the car. So there might have been other things in the glove compartment that had her name on it. But what I find interesting is this driver's license number. Is the driver's license number that's indicated on this notice to appear your driver's license
Correct.
number?
Yes.
That's pretty powerful proof, Ms. Alarcon.
Yeah.
That I find compelling, because on a credit card, you may have your name. On a letter that might have been in the glove compartment that has your name. But a driver's license number?
I don't know her driver's license number. I know her date of birth. I mean, we live together, you know. Of course, I know her birthday.
So tell me, Ms. Gaeta, what damage did you suffer as a result of
Emotional
this?
distress, very nervous. I suffered a migraine attack.
Did you have to go to court?
Yes, I did.
And that took an evening?
No, well, it just took a couple hours.
But it was distressing for you to get this, and the
Right.
judge believed you.
Yes.
I believe you. A police officer gave out this ticket.
Right.
Gave out this ticket to a woman who was a female with brown hair, brown eyes, 5'3", weighing 130 pounds, who was Hispanic. That's close, madam. So let me tell you what I have that's close. I have that this was a car that you once had.
Correct.
Ticket was given out in an area in or about the vicinity where you live.
I don't live in that vicinity. I live in Merced.
Or work. It contains information that only someone very close to the plaintiff would know, such as her driver's license number. You certainly had access to her information, how she might sign her name. So I find that pretty compelling. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Too many coincidences. Just too many.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
I believe you got the ticket. I believe you got the ticket, and I believe you used her name. It was an absolutely wrong thing to do. And you caused a certain amount of discomfort and stress when she got this ticket. She knew nothing about it.
Regina was constantly getting migraine headaches even before we got together. She suffered a lot of things, even before we got together.
Oh, but you did the wrong thing. You got to pay for that. You got to pay for that. The fact that you didn't have to pay the ticket is really not particularly compelling. Somebody's got to say to you, you inconvenienced her, you made her unhappy, stressed for a couple of days. Somebody's got to pay for that. Right? How much do you think that's worth?
Well, if whoever was here who did it, maybe they should pay
You
for
did it.
I did not. I was
Oh, yes, you did, Miss Alarcon. Yes, you did. Life isn't full of that many coincidences. You did it. And you have to compensate her. And I believe a fair and appropriate amount of compensation for you is $500, and that's what I'm giving you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. I'll back to you right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I'm very glad the judge chose me because I'm innocent, and I think anybody who uses anybody else's identity should be punished. She has a very dirty record, and that's why she used my driver's license number to clear her.
I still don't understand why she did it. She could have asked me, and that wasn't me who did that, so it's over and done with.
I'm very happy I came.
James Rhodes, 42, for legal fees incurred trying to collect her child's medical bills. He says the child is not his.
Order. All rise. Thank you. Your Honor, this is case number 255 on the calendar in the matter of Rhodes versus Rhodes. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat.
Let me see if I understand this lawsuit, Mrs. Rhodes. The defendant had been your husband.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are now divorced.
Yes.
Is this your present husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you have a seat, sir? According to your complaint, while you were married to the defendant, you became pregnant with your current husband's child. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Your child that was born required a great deal of medical attention in the first 3 months of life.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant, according to your complaint, refused to pursue insurance claims for the medical bills for that child.
Yes.
The child that wasn't his.
Yes.
Forcing you to go out and get a lawyer to pursue the insurance company for reimbursement.
Yes.
So you are suing your former husband for the legal fees that you incurred.
Yes.
To get his insurance company to pay for your child.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I clarify?
Sure. Why don't you step up here?
Yeah.
You clarify it, and then you tell me why you didn't pay for your own child's
Very well.
insurance.
She was a dependent under Mr. Rhodes' insurance.
Yes.
Okay, under the fact of the matter is when the child was born, she was still covered under his insurance. And
She was.
She had it was a requirement by the divorce stipulation that she would be.
By what stipulation?
The divorce stipulation.
Yes.
Okay, a legal document here that he would maintain her insurance
Let me see it.
and also.
Just a second. Just a second. Let me look at it. Absolutely right. This says that the respondent, that's you,
Yes.
shall continue to cover petitioner, that's you, under his health insurance.
That's correct.
Available through his employer.
That's correct.
Did you continue to cover her?
Yes, I did.
So what's your complaint with regard to him?
Okay, when the child was born, she was still covered under his insurance because she was still married to him legally. I could not even put her under my insurance as a married woman to someone else. I could do it as my employer will allow me to do it as a domestic partner once she's divorced. Therefore, when the child was born, under his insurance coverage, she's automatically covered for 30 days. And I have a book that indicates that coverage.
That sounds right to me.
Okay,
So the child is automatically covered for 30 days.
The child went into ICU immediately after birth due to a variety of medical problems. What happened is that once the bills started coming in, his insurance carrier refused to pay them for whatever reason.
Right.
We went through great lengths. We called him. I even personally talked to him on the phone, said that I was Mr. Rhodes, and asked him, well, what can I do? And they said, well, you have to submit an appeal. And that has to be done in writing, and it has to be signed by the member, which was Mr. Rhodes. Now, we called him and talked to him initially and asked him if he would do that. And initially, he seemed like he would be interested in doing that. We set up a meeting and met with him and his significant other, and at that meeting, basically everything came apart. The parties parted ways, and basically, shortly after, our phone was call blocked to his residence, so she could not call him.
What's your last name?
Payetta.
Mr. Payetta, the insurance company declined to pay for the child for the first 30 days.
At that time, yes.
And what you're complaining about is that Mr. Rhodes here, you don't have to say anything yet, Mr. Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes here said, I'm not filing any appeals with the insurance company.
That's correct.
And because he said he would not file appeals with the insurance company, you were forced to hire a lawyer.
That's correct.
And the lawyer was able to get the insurance company to pay up.
The majority of the claims. There are still some outstanding.
But the insurance company agreed that they had made a mistake.
That's correct.
And that they should have paid.
That's correct.
Well, I suggest you sue the insurance company.
That was a possibility. We talked to the attorney. He said that the chances of that would be very unlikely.
Well, the chances of you being successful against Mr. Rhodes are even less likely, sir. He did what was required of him pursuant to this judgment of divorce. Oh, yes.
Your Honor, it says that he was supposed to assist in the submission of the claims.
They said he had the right to appeal. They wouldn't even listen to me.
Just a second. It says that the respondent shall continue to cover the petitioner under his health insurance available through his employer until she is no longer eligible as his spouse, and cooperate in the submission and payment of claims and reimbursements.
That's correct.
That's what it says. Now, you submitted the claims.
No, what happens is the hospital submits the claims. They come back denied, and then the hospital sends us a bill and says you have to pay it. Okay, so we called the insurance
Just
company.
a second. You said it was denied. I didn't hear the reason that it was denied. You have that from your insurance, from the insurance company, as to the reason it was denied?
They said it because it wasn't his daughter.
It didn't say because he hadn't signed the claim forms.
That's correct.
Right. So he did not do anything.
Your Honor, we asked him to assist us with submitting the appeals. I even offered to write the letter if he would sign it.
I understand.
The insurance company would not.
Is he trying to talk over me?
Seems like.
I got to write down, sir. I got to write down. I know exactly what you're saying to me. You are saying that the bills were submitted pursuant to this, did not require his signature for it to be submitted because the hospital submits them.
That's correct.
They were disclaiming because the insurance company said since this child was not his, they were therefore not responsible because she was the dependent. That's according to you.
That was their initial story.
Whatever their story was.
Well, their book, the book that they say it's a general services agreement book, which we were able to get them to send us, states that the child is covered for the first 30 days.
So you sued them.
So what we did is I asked them, well, how do I resolve this during a phone call? And they said, well, what you have to do is submit a claim. Actually, they call it in here a grievance procedure if you're dissatisfied with their response.
Their response, you file a grievance procedure.
Grievance procedure. That grievance procedure has to come from the member.
And he didn't want to do that.
That's correct.
Just a second. He didn't want to do that. I don't blame him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The judgment of divorce provides that he shall cooperate in the submission of claims.
Which he did not do.
You are interrupting me, which is really ticking me off.
And later today.
So you're sitting in your house and all of a sudden you hear crash.
You know, I figured people kept their golf balls on the golf course.
The good golfers do.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tamara Rhodes wants her ex-husband, James Rhodes, to pay her attorney bill for trying to collect her child's medical bills.
Let me see the letter from the lawyer.
By... which one is it?
How are you, Mr. Rhodes?
I'm fine. How are you?
Here it is, this one right here. Your Honor, the issue...
Shh, let me read. I know what the issue is. I'm really smart. Well, this certainly isn't a very strong letter that your attorney wrote to them. He says, additionally, please find a copy of my client's February 24th and March 24th billing statements from this office indicating attorney's fees expended in order to resolve the payment of these claims with your company. I am therefore requesting that you check into the possibility of reimbursement of these fees from your company.
Your Honor?
Look into the possibility of paying? No. You sue him. You sue him. Now.
I acknowledge what you're saying as far as I do believe, truthfully, that the insurance company has a certain culpability towards this whole situation. In fact, maybe a greater percentage. But it was an agreement in Tamara's and Mr. Rhodes' divorce decree that he was to assist her. By the fact that he did not assist her, we had to employ the attorney and incur fees in order to resolve this matter. That is why we feel that Mr. Rhodes is subject to paying some of these attorney fees.
So I'll give it to you one more time, sir. I've read the judgment of divorce. The judgment of divorce provides that he shall cooperate in the submission of claims.
Which he did not do.
You are interrupting me, which is really ticking me off.
Sorry, Your Honor.
No. He did not have to do it in this case because the hospital itself submitted the claims on behalf of your now wife and behalf of your child. The judge's direction pursuant to the judgment of divorce did not say anything about and pursuing all necessary appeals if insurance is declined. Didn't say anything about that. It said submission of claims. He chose not to be involved with the appellate process of the insurance company. The truth of the matter is it was the insurance company that was culpable, and your lawyer or you are free to sue the insurance company for the costs that you incurred in seeing to it that a right decision was ultimately made. Your lawsuit's dismissed, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Oh, I just hope that Tammy and Jack move on with their own life and take on their own responsibilities instead of trying to make me pay for it.
I was looking after my daughter, someone really sick.
I guess we just have to live with it.
Someday we'd like to have our own baby, and our insurance will pay for that.
And now the next case.
Parties on Harper versus Clark. Step forward, please.
Jacqueline Harper claims golfer Ted Clark hit a ball through her window. Ted says it wasn't his ball.
It always amazes me, Mr. Clark, that men can't remember birthdays, they can't remember anniversaries, they can't remember very important moments in their life, but they remember what kind of golf ball they play with. Strange. Anyway, lawsuit is about a golf ball and whose golf ball it was that broke your window, right?
Right.
So you live on a golf course.
That's right.
Why?
I've asked myself that same question too. I've never lived on a golf course before this.
I always wondered why people would live on a golf course. Seems to me you're outside, want to be puttering in the backyard, sitting by your pool and you're, dodging golf balls.
That's right. I was not aware that, I figured people kept their golf balls on the golf course.
The good golfers do.
Which was
but there are a lot of duffers out there.
Assumption on my part.
Okay, so you're sitting in your house and all of a sudden you hear crash. Was this the first crash that you heard? Have you ever had a golf ball break a window or anything else in the past?
I've had numerous windows broken by golf balls.
I'd think about a resale if I were you. Don't wait until one of these golf balls doesn't do a window, but does your head.
Does my head, exactly.
Okay. And you, Mr. Clark, were playing with a foursome?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you hear?
What I heard was I heard the ball hit in Mrs. Harper's roof.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I heard one bang. I heard a window.
Doesn't make sense, right?
What makes some sense is the window could have been broken previously.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Jacqueline Harper claims golfer Ted Clark hit a ball through her window. Ted says it wasn't his ball.
So what did you do?
Well, as we went down the fairway, Mrs. Harper came out of her backyard and said that somebody just broke a window in the front of her house. So I said, that must have been me because my ball did hit your roof. So I gave her my name and telephone number and said I would take care of paying for a window to have it replaced, and I would pay for it. So I went back down, and when I mentioned this to my golfing partners, we all reflected on it and thought we couldn't understand how it could break a window in the front of her house. So I left my group and went up to Mrs. Harper's house, rang her doorbell, and she came out, and I asked if she'd found the golf ball. And she said no, she hadn't looked for it. So at that point, I said, well, could I come into your yard and could we find the ball? I said, I'm playing a Top Flight Arrow 3. I have one here that was left in the box from that day. So I went into her yard and we found a ball at the bottom of her flower bed right below the window. It wasn't my ball, and we found another one about another 10 feet away. So I left and I went back and I wrote her a letter that day and basically said, if you find my golf ball, I'll be happy to pay for the window. And about 4 or 5 days went by, then I got a summons to small claims court. And subsequently, I got a bill from Mrs. Harper, and she said on the bill that she'd found the ball. So at that point, I went over to her house with a check for, I think it was about $108 the cost of the window. And I told her again I was playing a Top Flight Arrow 3. And she said, well, this is a Top Flight XL1. And I said, well, Mrs. Harper, that's not my ball. And she basically said, well, I knew you were going to do this to me. And she went back in her house, and here we are.
You were in the house that day?
Yes, I was.
How many bangs did you hear on your house?
I heard one bang. I heard a window.
You play golf there all the time?
Yes, I do.
See anybody else there hitting a ball at the precise moment you did?
Oh, no, not at all.
So let's talk about common sense. It just doesn't make sense, sir, that at the precise moment that you hit a ball, you hear it hit her house, that another person from wherever hits a ball, and at the precise moment it hits her house and breaks her window, at the precise moment, that your ball, according to you, hit her roof. Doesn't make sense, right?
No, that doesn't make sense. The ball and the flight of the ball, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The flight of that ball could have gotten to a window in the front of her house. What makes some sense is the window could have been broken previously.
Mr. Clark, are you suggesting that this lady who's standing here had a broken window in her house, waited until you happened to hit the roof of her house and said, aha, I got a sucker to pay for the window? Does that sound logical? Look at her, Mr. Clark. What time of the day did this happen, Miss Harper?
It happened at 10:45 in the morning.
When you woke up in the morning, was your window intact?
Yes, the window was intact and had been intact.
Okay. And the window was broken moments before Mr. Clark came up to your house.
Right. I was in the back end of the house and I heard this glass sound breaking. So I went around the house looking to see what broke. By that time, they were down behind the back of the house in their golf carts. So I went out in the back and I said, one of you fellas broke one of my windows.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Clark comes running up the little back hill there and he says, I did it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Mr. Clark, she's suing you for $109.48, which you would agree is the cost of replacing that window. She'll
Correct.
show you a bill. You have a bill?
I have a bill.
Show
I
it to
don't
Mr.
deny that
Clark.
whatsoever.
Show it to Mr. Clark.
I have a letter that I wrote to him.
I don't need a
right
letter.
I have a letter that he
I would
wrote
just
to
also
me.
I
add
don't
that
need a letter.
the $109 wouldn't even come out of my own pocket. My homeowner's policy would cover the cost of the window. There's no deductible on damage done
Great.
to other property.
So
this has nothing to do with what
money.
the cost of the window was.
Okay.
That's correct.
So what I'm saying to you is, in order for me to buy your scenario, sir, I have to believe that this lady was laying in wait for just somebody to come and say, I hit your roof, and she say, now I got somebody to pay for the window, because I'm sure she has homeowner's insurance too.
Right.
All right? It doesn't sound right. She doesn't look like that kind of
Can I
lady,
just add
although
one
she
other-
stays on a golf course, lives on a golf course, despite the fact that she's
Can I add one other thing?
ducking them all the time. Yes.
Mrs. Harper indicated she was home all morning. That may very well be the case, but I play out there every Saturday morning, and many Saturday mornings I see Mrs. Harper out at that time walking her dog. So whether she was home that Saturday and the dog didn't get to walk, I don't know. But saw her last Saturday. I also saw her the Saturday before around that time walking the dogs.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You hit her house with a golf ball.
Yes.
You acknowledge that.
Yes.
He acknowledges it in writing.
Miss Harper, you're winning. Be quiet. Pay the $2. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for $109.48. That's
Parties
all.
are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy can
ताजमहल का वो राज जो कभी सामने नहीं आया। इसमें आप ताजमहल के छिपे हुए कमरों, मुमताज की असल कब्र या उससे जड़ी साजिशी नजरियात को बयान कर सकती हैं। लोग इस मौजू में बहुत दिलचस्पी रखते हैं। टाइटिंग का डूबना हकीकत या साजिश? वीडियो टाइटल का आइडिया। क्या टाइटिंग को जानबूझकर डबोया गया था? टाइटिंग के हादसे के पीछे भी कई साजिशी नजरियात हैं। इंश्योरेंस फराड, जेपी मूर्गन का किरदार वगैरह। गोलकंडा किले का राज, एक किला जो ताजमहल से पहले बना और इसमें था बारूद का खजाना। गोलकंडा किला हैदराबाद एक प्रासरार किला है जहां बारूद महफूज किया जाता था और वहां का गूंजने वाला साउंड सिस्टम भी हीरतंगेज हटलर का आखिरी